7 or Cycle 7 Quran. The Cycle 7 Quran. Now the word Quran has many meanings, having evolved over time. It's been said to mean that which is spoken, that which is preached, the call of God to come forth. He reads, he recites. From the Siratic or Qurani or Quryana or lesson, scriptural reading, earliest meaning, or the act of reciting or to set something that is set down. But my favorite meaning for the Quran is the final revelation of God. Thus we say that Prophet Noble Drew Ali, as one of the messengers sent back to realign the minds of black peoples in the diaspora, gave us a book of ethics and proceedings to prepare us for the incoming shift of consciousness through his 7-cycle book of the revelations or the final revelations of God. The book of the 7th cycle is a preparation for those who are to inherit the cycle beyond the present incoming cycle, which is the 6th cycle, that mundane environment humanity is destined to inherit. Also, the popular Quran and the Hadith mention a future time of judgment. Listen carefully. It mentioned a future time of judgment and resurrection, a time which is known as the Qiyamah. In the tradition of the Prophet Muhammad, this time is indicated as coming sometime after 1400 years of the Hijri calendar. And so with that, I would like to say to you, Brother Black Dot.
I'm here.
Oh, do you have a...
I don't have one.
Oh, you don't have one?
Want me to turn the lights off first?
Yes, I'm going to turn the lights out first. We are going to go over everything that we just did. But this time, kids, we're going to have pictures. And of course I say welcome everyone. It's like you're going back in time. Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. Let me know when you're ready.
I may need to feel you. All right, everyone. We're going to be going at a rapid pace because I'm not going to be going back to telling you anything. Somebody give me a time check.
You good? You good for about an hour, maybe hour and a half.
Okay, I'm good then? All right, well, I will be going back to the notes. Next. The name of this particular lecture, and I'm bringing you back for those who came in late, is the astrometric timetable of the Olmec Maya. And listen carefully. Transcending the third cube of metaphoric space-time reality and the cipher of the 13th Sapphira, the mathematics of consciousness containment. Now, you know I do all these elaborate things, and if you don't see elaborate stuff on my tapes, you know it don't belong to me. Somebody booted it. The astrometric timetable of the Olmec Maya, always, brothers and sisters, no matter what it is they try to push to you, know that the Olmec, or so-called Olmec, and the Maya essentially are Johnny-come-lately terminologies that have nothing to do with what's really going on in Mesoamerica. If I had the time, I would speak to you of sciences and information about the place that you now inhabit called the Americas that will blow your mind. Your ancestry, your DNA, your genetics are here. It didn't come from Africa, you've been here. And that's another part that we have not yet, coming out of the old school from our masters, that's something that only one that I've known of, that was Van Sertima, who actually promoted that at a very heavy thing when they came before Columbus. Now what I'm about to do is to show you or give you a historicity so that we could actually give you a sense of what it is that we've been talking about when we were talking about it and asking you to deal in your right brain. Now you can deal in your left brain. Next. Brothers and sisters, that is a Tamo'ankani. That is the Olmec Father. Next. Those are the Mayan sons. Know the difference. You and your fathers and your mothers set the stages for these fathers and mothers. They came later, much later than your people. They were transplants. Everything now is showing that your people were here as the fathers. And I don't care I'm about to show you exactly what it is that these people are trying to get away with. It's going to blow your mind what it is they are trying to perpetrate to their own people. Of course they're going to try to sell it. They would never, ever release the book that I have here. They would never come into the black community with it. And if they did, they'd be laughed out. But in that book, brothers and sisters, has some of the most profound sciences that your ancestors left here and that they have adopted, and that they are creating whole textbooks saying that they're the ones who did it. Next, please. To tell you the name, you are the Tamoan Khan. The people were the Tamoan Khan. This is how it was spelt. This is how I had researched it and found it. And of course, this is the name that was given to the people by the people who lived in the areas. And again, Brother Mahir El just opened up a whole door for me when we were thinking that this is the name they gave to themselves. Still no one knows what they call themselves. But they know the people who are the residual members of the tribes and the people who lived in the area, they know what they call them. And they call them Tamoan Khan. And the Tamoan Khan are those who teach the wisdom. Those who are the teachers of the wisdom. Yeah. First and foremost, I want to give thanks. I want you to see that all these beautiful images and the way they came together were done by my wife, Dr. Nalani. She is the master craftswoman who always puts together my PowerPoint presentations. You got to give it up for her. I feed her the raw material, and she takes it, and she's the one who smooths out the rough ashlar into the smooth and perfected ashlar. Look here at all these white people that I'm showing you right now. I remember talking to Dr. Van Sertima one day on the phone, and he said that the reason, when I was talking to him, it was about 20 years ago, he said that the whites who discovered it said that the reason why the people in that area made faces like these was because the wind might cause an erosion of the sharper noses. And so flat, broad noses lasted longer on statues. And I said, and that was their official and scholastic explanation. Both of us laughed. Next, please. Just to give you an idea of the pictures of the people. And the funny part about it is, Europeans are not looking in Europe for gold, silver, pyramids, or anything spiritual. There is nothing spiritual in Europe, and nothing spiritual ever came out of Europe. So whenever Europeans are looking for something to find out who they were, they always transplant themselves. Now you need to go up on the website and punch in a man's name. His name is Tim Wise. And Tim Wise breaks down his own Caucasoid brethren by saying that because of their deficiency and who they are, they tend to project the worst of themselves onto others and say, see, that's who they are. Well, they've used that same type of psychosexual pathology to project themselves into Africa, to project themselves into places around the world where they're digging up in your graves, digging up places where people buried themselves and say that that's where I'm going to be forever. No, we were going into their grave. Imagine if we were going into Europe in their graveyards and start digging up in their graves. Well, they're in the graveyards of our people, but you see, they've got Arabs who are over there now, who are also part of the whole machinery of the Vatican. And you have a pontificating jackass named Awas, who's over there standing in front of the pyramids talking about his fucking ancestors built this. And then he could say that King Tutankhamun, but see, we never put ourselves in front of God. We never named ourselves in front of God. We always said Amen first. we came after God. It's funny how we switched and called him Tutankhamen. What was his real name? And why was the significance of his name now switched from Tutankhamen, from Amen to Tutankhamen? That was something we never did. We never spoke the name, our name, before God's. So now you have him saying, no, Tutankhamen wasn't white. You look at that little black face.
He directed it at us, too, African Americans.
Oh yes, he did, because we have no power. We're too goddamn busy not finding out our own spirituality. So they could always deny us. But you see, the face of that little boy Prince is undeniable. I could walk up and down the streets of Harlem and see his face on damn near every child I walk by. And yet still they're going to tell you he was not black. And what was he?
He didn't say.
White boy with a deep tan. That's what it was. Next please. Again, I will show you the beautiful black faces of your ancestors. Of course, they all take the credit because we discovered it. The reason why black people are not discovering anything is because we are left back here to keep the spiritual index of this planet intact. If we left this European to his own fucking resolve, they would have blown the goddamn place up already. Could you imagine that 3/4 of the planet is dark peoples and we let 1/3 of the planet run roughshod across this shit? Imagine if black people were to lose patience and say, fuck it, I don't give a damn about my job. I don't give two shits about where I'm living. I don't give a shit about where I'm going to eat. Fuck you. That's some dangerous shit. You got to make black people believe they need to be at a job. They need to have that Benz. They need to have that shit. Because every time you feel you're going to suffer, you start getting scared. That's why I say, black man, you worry about what happened about your woman. My book is going to come out and talk about the sisters, but guess what? I say it's written for sisters, but dedicated to the brothers. The problem is, the reason why a lot of our sisters have gone astray and then we got infected by the Oprah virus is because we no longer feel the need or have the balls enough to die for anything. We don't want to go back and get them. So of course who they are the support systems of our whole human race. So if you don't want to get them over there to support you in something, to get your mind targeted, they'll go and support the society. Because why? You're giving them the children, and you ain't taking care of them. So we got to get back on track and begin to understand and understand that if you as a man don't assume the role of a man, then you give twice the burden to your woman. Now she got to be a man, and guess what? Yeah, they're out there now. Every woman I see out there now from the age of like 19 down or going up to 20, 25, all of them want to have a dick. Yes. Or act like they do. None of them are being groomed to have children and to support a family. Because I can't see a black man in any commercial anymore. And if I do, he's playing Sambo. I see you being paired with a whole lot of other people. I see a whole lot of, and the thing about it is, I also had a thing with my brothers, because I'm Castilian, from Spain, direct descendant from King Philip, and I'm not proud about it. That's why I got my name. So what? All the shit that's going on right now, I remember a brother named DMX, or DXT, good brother. He said that how they had a meeting for hip-hop, and there was what do you call those people who sit down and panelists, but all their SOBs, and it was a hip-hop convention, and it was supposed to be about everyone, black, Hispanic, everybody getting ready to deal with hip-hop, what we going to do. In the audience, light-skinned, very light-skinned Hispanic brother stood up and said, man, I don't see no Hispanics up there. Because everybody up there was black. And he said, you don't? Brother stood up and started speaking to him in Boricua, Borican. He said, see, that's how racist your fucking ass is. See, you deny your own black grandmothers in Puerto Rico. That's right. And you keep forgetting that because you speak Spanish, that you somehow think that you're Spanish. But see, your dumb ass got colonized by white people, and you now, knowing that the upper echelon, because it's happening in the West Indies where the hell I came from too in Trinidad, everybody liked me because I was light-skinned. And I began to understand, my mother, bless her soul, bless my father, said, don't go fall for that shit. That's colonizing. That's what happened to us when we were colonized. Don't lose the sense of who you were. And I say that to all of my Borinquen brothers and sisters. Don't lose a sense to your African heritage and to your native heritage or your Tuctionist heritage. Don't give a fuck how light you are. That can also be cured. Thank goodness I live in Florida now. I'm actually getting back to where I used to be when I was raised in the West Indies. I was at least 5 to 7 shades darker than I am now. And I'm heading back there, thank goodness. But I'm not saying this just to try to unload anything on you. Just remember who you are, my light-skinned brothers and sisters. Just remember what happened that got this situation, this amalgamation situation going. And don't fall for the projection that this white man is giving to you, that you're better or somehow whatever it is that you see on television where you don't see black people anymore. They had 11 new shows coming on and it's all about this straw-head, cave-drag, knuckle-dragging motherfucker. I'm sick and tired of seeing another blonde-ass female telling me how beautiful she is and the gorgeous, and then the evil one is white, but she got black hair. Look at the mindset that you're looking at. And this is who you are. This is who they keep looking for. Every time they look for their spirituality, they find this fucking face. And you still don't get it. And in your churches, you got some straw-haired motherfucker. Wake up. Because what I'm doing right now is showing you that these are the people that gave you the highest sciences that they're now taking and claiming for themselves. Next, just want you to see how beautiful you are. Look at that face. That gotta be white. Oh, there's no doubt now. Isn't it amazing how they got all of our stuff in their museums, and we ain't got a museum for nothing. We walking around here, and they got us in museums. Nothing. You are the Tomo'ankan peoples. You claim their heritage. I don't care what they say. Now, if you look at this, this is a helmet, supposedly, of one flying a specific machine. That the piece that you see is actually a microphone. Oh, we're getting ready to get heavy now. Understanding and understanding that this is where you came from. Understand and understand that you had civilizations beyond what it is that they could ever hope to create. Oh, it looks pretty good. The skyscrapers look all fair, but you know what? A little shake on the ground and the whole goddamn thing comes down. Yours was built to be here forever. Forever and ever. The stones, they are still now mystifying and completely turning upside down all calculations, previous calculations. That's why the white man's science is so tenuous. It keeps changing every 5 years. What kind of science is that? There's science on the run. There's no consistency. It's not anchored in the truth. Yours is anchored in the truth because it has not yet left anywhere. Every time they dig, they find you. And when they dig for themselves, they find bones of Neanderthals. And then dig this. From Africa, they tell you were knuckle dragging. And that somehow the higher relativity, the higher, stronger, more intelligent man migrated to the colder region. Now, first of all, if you're so goddamn intelligent, why would you leave paradise to go live in the fucking snow? Yet they tell you that the Neanderthal man was a step up in intelligence for humanity. And of course, Neanderthal man now can take all the credit for everything that happened, because guess what? He then migrated down to Africa and went to build the pyramids. That's what he's saying. Neanderthal went back to Africa and built the pyramids. This is who you are. Get to look at this because you will see the science behind it and what it really means. This is the sun, central Hunabku. Look very carefully at the wheel, and you will see that each one of these represents a specific day in the calendar, going all the way around, each one being an influence emanating from here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 influences. Each one of these 6 is now relatively in sync with these specific tunes or days. And each one is a cycle. Each symbol means something. And each one of it, now you can see that wheel. All time is a wheel. All cycles represent a wheel. And that wheel tells you what happens to man, not because of what it is that he's doing, going to do from day to day, I'll plant this crop. No. Mayan or the Olmec or Chamoan Khan actually were timekeepers of consciousness. They time-kept consciousness. What will the consciousness of humanity be during this period in the time cycle in the wheel? And they are telling you exactly what it is that will happen. Hold all questions until after, because we want to have a whole side of time for just these questions. Next, please. And moving right along, I will then repeat. Who are the Tamoan Khan? The root of the word is lamed, the 12th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, meaning to teach, also to train, representing faculties of the brain. The ch is derived from the word chokhmah, meaning wisdom. You can keep going. Thus, the ancient etymological root translates the name Tamoan Khan to mean teachers of wisdom, or those who teach knowledge and wisdom. Even the word Olmec, which is said to mean rubber people, has an entirely different meaning when the etymological root is decoded. The words OLM, meaning wall, lamed, and mem, together are transliterated into the colloquial as master teachers from whom systems of knowing flow. Also, since vowels in the ancient language are often interchangeable, the O may be substituted for A, resulting in alim or alim. In fact, these 3 letters are seen as the beginning words of the 2nd surah in the Quran. The European man uses the so-called Gregorian calendar to define his present space-time reference, a sequence based on a solar cycle of 365 days. But melanated high civilizations did not use a single reference of the sun as the measure and gauge of the center of all human perception and consciousness. Our ancestors had at least 18 to 22 calendars by which to measure our space-time reference to galactic and universal phenomena, as well as their relationship to evolutionary consciousness. To the Tamoan Khan Olmec, each day in creation has its own sacred energy or purpose. There are 260 different combinations of 20 different day lords or sacred sun sigils. Does anybody know what a sigil is? Sigil is a symbol that represents a whole. In other words, if you want to condense a 1,000-word paragraph into one little sign, you can create out of those word symbols a specific sigil that would mean the whole paragraph. So you would take pieces of the paragraph and the meaning and then put them together and you would have a symbol. That's a sigil. The same way that you do when you begin to, what they do to you when they broadcast sigils into your brain, and you want to go ahead and get a, deserve a break today at McDonald's, and you know why. So, 20 different day laws of signs or light energies sent by the sun, and 13 different galactic energies or tones sent or broadcast as light code frequencies from the central sun of our galaxy. This is the symbol of the central sun of our galaxy. It is called Hunab-Ku. Here we have a reference of what I was speaking about earlier. I spoke earlier of the reference of the Earth to Mars and to Venus, to Mercury, and to Pluto. What we're going to do is show you the scale of what we are speaking about as we speak of the central core galactic sun. And even at the last part, I have not yet touched upon it. Next. There we have a picture of the Earth in reference to Uranus, Neptune, Saturn, and Jupiter. Again, keep the reference of the Earth and see what I'm speaking about. Here is Jupiter as opposed to our Earth. Next. Here you see our sun in relationship to Jupiter. In relationship all the way down to our Earth. Wait. Here you see our sun in relationship to Sirius, in relationship to Pollux, and to Arcturus. This is our sun. But wait. Here is Sirius. Here's Pollux. Here's Arcturus. Here's Rigel, Aldebaran, Antares, and Betelgeuse. Where's our sun? You can't even see it. Next. That is the reference I'm talking about when you speak about Betelgeuse and Antares. These are just part of the sun systems that are in place that are not even close to the size of Hunapku. So we are nothing more than essentially electrons spiraling around a galactic core atom of huge proportions, indefinable proportions. And around that we have billions upon billions upon billions of galaxies. And this white man says we're the only one here. What monumental ego in God. Even his own people said you got to be a fool. Especially that Vatican fool. You know he knows something. With all the secrets his people done ripped off. All the civilizations he's just genocided and stole and ripped and destroyed. How much information is in those catacombs under the Vatican? Huh? Belonging to your ancestors. But you see, they can't do a damn thing with it.
That's right.
They can hold it in the museums, but unless the original owner holds them, shit don't get done. They got to give up everything they have stolen in that. Now we know that they are supposed to be, in this time, the keepers of all of the artifacts. But they are supposed to have relinquished this 20 years ago. When the Native Americans came to them and said, give us our artifacts so that we may save the environment, they refused to listen. And this is why they're going to be destroyed. Go. The combination of both our solar sun's 20-day lords and the 13 galactic light sentinels constitute a harmonic sequence of divine intention vibrating a conscious index equal to 33 degrees. The resonating equivalent of 1 degree above the freezing point, or symbolically 1 vibrating degree above the present levels of consciousness that atrophies humanity's present perceptual cube of space. It means that when you're dealing with 32 and 33 degrees, that's the reason why the Masons deal with that. Once you get past 32 degrees, you're up at the freezing point, which means your consciousness is frozen at that level. The 33rd degree is you 1 degree above the lockdown cycle. Which is why when Nibiru came into our sphere of existence at an angle of the ellipsis at 32 degrees of the ellipsis and left at 33, the wink brought the whole consciousness index of the planet up. Next. The Timoan-Kan Olmec Mayan calendar is a diary of the cyclic personality and intentions of the central core galactic mind. In this diary, we find that evolutionary consciousness has taken very explicit and specific patterns of genetic-based enlightenment energies 7 times over a period of 16.4 billion years. And with each new round, the cycles of creation accelerated to a speed 20 times that of the previous cycle, each rate of acceleration matching the levels of consciousness attainment in humanity. These 7 cycles taken by the evolutionary consciousness stream by way of genetic-based light accretion. Light accretion means that your consciousness is rising as a result of the specific fixing of light frequencies into your DNA codex. And what it does, the light frequencies begins to activate something in your DNA to create the DNA, to cause the DNA to create all these little antennae along the DNA tract that pick up more and more information. These antennae are created from protein. And the protein is actually created from the materials that you take in. And this material begins to create these little crystalline antennae along the DNA, and you get more and more information in the DNA, which then changes your whole body. So that if you were to have a baby, sperm, the sperm now creates a child that is along that index, that consciousness index. Next, please. Since our ancestral masters said that we are presently in the 6th cycle at 20 times the speed of the previous cycle, this would explain why time as we know it appears to be speeding up, while space as we know it is being reconditioned by the incoming light poles of cosmic redemption into a new containment of perception. Next. However, it is not time that is speeding up, but our shifting angles of perceptual reference, as the angle velocities of the atom increase, which uproots the perceptual space-time anchors previously used to construct our individual cubes of space. According to the Tamoan Khan Olmec Maya, the energy patterns of creation are situated in a spiraling 3-dimensional linear pattern, like the pyramid cone consisting of 9 levels or cycles. The first, or bottom level of the pyramid, represents the longest period of corporeal consciousness incubation, the cycle of involution that began approximately 16.4 billion years ago, a time which European Darwinists define as the cellular level of creation. The second level of cycle of the pyramid is 20 times shorter, due to the consciousness accretion and acceleration, and is dated approximately 840 million years ago, a time defined by Darwinists as the mammalian level of creation. The third begins circa 41 million years ago at 20 times the rate of consciousness acceleration, beginning what the Darwinists define as the cycle of the family or Homo sapiens. The fourth level occurred 2 million years ago and is the tribal level. The fifth level 102,000 years ago and is the cultural and agricultural level. The sixth level occurred 516, or missing, 5,116 years ago, called the nationalist level, with man creating laws and sovereign nations. The seventh level occurred in 1775, called the planetary level. The 8th level began January 4th, 1999. This brought in our reconnection to the galactic level and so-called ethical considerations. The 9th level began February 10th, 2001, the universal level, denoting the expansion of the holographic cube of space-time perception. The addition of the 9 levels or cycles of the galactic consciousness pyramid, each cycle is further subdivided into 13 equal sections of time. The first level, circa 14 billion years ago, divided into 13 sections or heavens, is 1.26 billion. This is all technical for everybody who wants to do the research. Second level, 840 million years, divided into 13 heavens, 63.1 million years. Third level, 41 million, divided into 13 heavens, 3.1 million years. Fourth level, circa 2.2 million years, divided into 13 sections or heavens, 100,000 years. Fifth level, 102,000 years into 13 heavens equals 7,900 years each. Sixth level, 5,116 years divided into 13 heavens equals 396 years each. Seventh level, planetary level, 2 million years divided into 13 heavens, 19.7 million years. Eighth level, galactic level, occurred January 4th, 1999, into 13 heavens is 360 days long. The 9th level, the universal level, destined to occur February 10th, 2011, into 13 sections, becomes just 20 days long. So when we get to the 9th level, we will be spiraling at such a rate, at such a speed that here triggers. Death will be coming much faster. Life will be coming much faster. Knowledge and anything that you put your mind to will be accelerated. So if you're in hate, that will accelerate. If you're in love, that will accelerate. if you are in the knowledge and you're looking for more understanding, understanding of your metaphysical self, that will accelerate. So whatever you focus on will be accelerated at 20 times the pace. In other words, according to the ancient Kemetic masters who originated the Kabbalistic sciences that disseminated into the world after the invasion of the Hyksos, the most profound secret pertaining to the creation mystery is that creation is actually universal negation. I'm doing this again because it's got to be something that you internalize. Creation is negation of the ineffable all, a negation of 10% of its quintessentiality. Creation is therefore the all participating in its negative reflection or shadow of self, which in the end is truly what it is not. Thus, this new consciousness cycle is set to teach humanity that whatever we fabricate externally or psychologically in accordance with Maya or illusion must be perceived of as a negation or negative reflection of our true selves. That the universal intelligence matrix does not respond to questions framed in the affirmative, for we will continue to get negative answers. Check the science, or answers that simply reflect the questions, not answer them. Realizing who we are not negates the projected illusion, revealing the point of origin of the projected self-image. When you understand who you are not from this particular point of illusion, who you are projecting into this illusion will become more evident. Right now you're masked in this flesh thinking that this is who you are. You are not. This is an aggregation of atoms and material substances that is now clothing itself around the projected image of yourself from a place that you are not yet or even remembering that you are aware of. You are a point of reference projecting into third density space. And as such, you are now participating in an illusion of atoms. Think about that. Once you know who you are not, you will know who you are. It's basic equilibrium. It's using ma'at. Here we go. The Sefer Yesarai. Hold that image for a second. Y'all think that's Jewish. And y'all gonna get pissed at me because I'm about to talk about some Jewish shit. No, I'm not. Nope. First, you must know that those who control the present paradigm structures of reality are not government agents. They're a priesthood of occult scientists and second-order entities who have used the ongoing revelations of ancient knowledge to construct a sophisticated network of manipulation, fear, and control unsurpassed in all previous history. They have used the accumulated knowledge of man as a weapon against man. To understand the sophisticated nature of this beast's magic entails an understanding of the etheric properties of life and the material realm, and how these properties are utilized to condition the operative fields of consciousness. It entails the study of an extremely ancient science of elemental alchemy based on the principles of elemental formation and dissolution. And such knowledge existed way before what it is you are believed to have known as time. And so we open the door to what is called the Sefer Yetzirah. Just the remnants that comprise this little tiny book are evidence of the magnitude of knowledge once possessed by our Kemetic ancestors. The Sefer is a two-dimensional schematic. The Sephiroth is a two-dimensional schematic delineating a 10-dimensional reality. Listen carefully, about to get heavy. The Sephiroth is a two-dimensional schematic delineating a 10-dimensional reality of the isness of time, space, as mapped and viewed through the eyes of the Adam and Eve Kadmon within the realms of negated Ayin. In decoding the cube of space, we must first study the science behind how our individual perceptual envelopes were formed. how the mind is cocooned and marginalized in its thought processes through the metaphoric manipulation of words. This entails an understanding of the etheric nature and universal galactic origins of the energies used to condition the operative fields of intelligence and consciousness. It entails the study of an ancient science based in the principles of elemental formation in an ancient language derived from Earth's mother tongue called Aburu, which became fragmented into the ancient dialects now known as Medu Neter, Sanskrit, Hebrew, Twi, the language of the Dogon, and all of the ancient languages we now are studying. From the ancient master teachers who were known by the names of Jehudi Toph, Esau, Quetzalcoatl, Laotse, Enoch, Velacosa, Buddha, Zoroaster, Methuselah, who all walked the earth during the times of Pangaea, Kemet, Sumer, India, before the Great Flood and assorted cataclysms, humanity has witnessed infinite cycles of evolution in consciousness where master teachers have returned to elevate present humanity in their next stages of higher perception. And evidence of them having been here has now come into light every hour of every day, especially with the present declassification of the ground-penetrating radar scalar. Astonishing data has surfaced about the enormous labyrinths of underground systems, and evidence of advanced civilizations are now coming to light. Past advanced civilizations are now coming to light. At places like Guatemala, tunnels have been mapped under the Olmec Mayan pyramid complex at Tikal, which extend over 1,500 miles into the opposite directions of the country. Tunnels! This is said to explain how a civilization of 12 million people disappeared at the arrival of the Caucasoid. The SIDAR radar was used in Kemet back in 1978, and it discovered an enormous subterranean complex beneath the Great Pyramids. For 30 years, top-secret excavations were conducted, which resulted in a film work yet to be shown to the public. It is called Chambers of the Deep. They won't release it. This film showed the discovery of a megalithic metropolis. A megalithic metropolis 1/2 to 1 mile below the Giza pyramids. That's been dated at over 15,000 years old. It has been dubbed by the secret scientists of the Jason Society as the City of the Gods. The film shows hydraulic underground waterways, massive chambers the size of the largest cathedrals, statues the size of the width of the Nile. Let me say that again. Want to know how bad you were? Statues the size of the width of the Nile. Underground. Hello, somebody. They were carved in the mountainsides of the caves. The researchers literally risked their lives to bring lights and cameras into these dark abysses, tenuously using little rubber rafts and dinghies to cross subterranean rivers and mile-wide lakes underground. They found a treasure of artifacts, scrolls, and carvings with your black faces on them. They unearthed technology so advanced we look like we're in the Stone Age. Their technology was way beyond machine technology and showed evidence that they cracked the genetic code. It was based on higher light-based physics. Light-based physics. Just sitting here, having gone through the research and what it is I'm telling you, I'm only giving you a piece so that we can move along. For example, it's been finally discovered that the Great Pyramid is harmonically tuned to a specific frequency or musical tone. That each stone has a musical note attached to it. That the sarcophagus in the center part of the pyramid is tuned to the frequency of the human heartbeat. That it mirrors the positions of planets and stellar systems. That it mimics the chakras and harmonic cavities of the human body. that it mimics the pineal of the brain and the pituitary, that these great pyramids around the world were voice-activated geophysical computers. Voice-activated geophysical computers. Want to know why Patti LaBelle sings like she does? Want to know why Luther sang like he did? Want to know why we excel at the arts? Because it's in the blood. It's in the genetics. It is who we are. It is who we've been. It is who we forgot we are. Voice-activated geophysical computers. And you worried about the rent. It was found by these scientists, who only can now decipher it because of the technology they have come into, that by intoning specific ancient sounds, pay attention, by intoning specific ancient sounds, visible standing waves of light above and within the pyramids were able to penetrate inaccessible pyramids' chambers. In other words, when they began hitting certain notes, a light would come up out of the ground and then open up a door. Thus, it is surmised that our ancient ancestors used some sort of harmonic sound technology with their temple structures, which would make the mother tongue of the masters the language of light and harmonics. Now you want to know why they wanted Kunta Kinte to call himself Tony? So you wouldn't use your language. The language of light and harmonics. Remember I told you that when African people speak, they're speaking of the drumbeat of the earth, the wind, the lightning. You hear it in their song. I'm trying. But when our people speak, we smoke because we were reflecting the sounds of nature. When the Caucasoid speaks, there was nothing but the wind and the snow. So his language became more laborious to speak. And his mouth had to be changed in such a way as to speak like that. Because you didn't want to open up your mouth too wide, that shit will freeze and you die. But if you listen to black people, our mouth is up. That's because we had the living, moving language upon our tongue and in our mouth. And understand that you are not just speaking and singing just to feel, you feel it from the soul. When they talk about soul music, they had to call soul music what we did. Because we were the ones with the soul. Soul is something you grow. And they didn't have it at that time. I remember when I was coming up in the 50s, and I'm dating myself, I used to watch white people dance. Now I'm dating myself for all you old school folks. And y'all listen up, because your mamas was the ones I was looking at. Now you remember Dick Clark. Come on. Dick Clark with his American Bandstand and all of these spastic people. And even when you were back there looking at your brothers and sisters during the Motown time, it may look a little funny to you, but it was in the rhythm of the time. And when you look at white people's music on screen, and the music is playing and they're dancing to it, it don't even look like they even, are they listening?
That's right.
But when you see like, one that really got to me was the music, when, what was the one where they sang all the songs, Coolie High.
Yeah.
Even in Coolie High, when that came out, the brothers and sisters were actually in sync with the music when they danced. But that's because of who you were and who you are. And I know it that soul is something that you grow into, because I remember when white people couldn't dance. I would dance into our music until they began looking, and your boy broke down the color line and said, let me bring in a few black people to dance. And all of a sudden, by some kind of osmotic affinity, white people looked like they were catching on. And then I found out that they was putting footsteps on the floor so that they could catch up. Right? You remember that? And the thing that hurts me too is that all of the African peoples in Cuba who do the Latin, that's our shit. But they only show you white Spanish people doing it. But when they did an old thing in Cuba, when they went back to Cuba, Castro's Cuba, and they saw all the people, and what pissed me off was Gloria Estefan playing black music, and she didn't say one fucking thing about where she got the music she was playing. And everybody said, come on, everybody, the Chulak Conga. I said, no, wait a minute, hold on, you don't look like the one that made that. You weren't. And then when they go back and they show you all the black old folks up there dancing and doing their thing, and they, you know, it's, oh, that's where it came from. Yeah, but you don't get any play. So I know how you grow a soul. By osmosis. The lesser next to the greater always saps what the greater has. And by affinity, automatically evolves. So we know that there's a science involved. Now they don't need you. Now in all the movies, they got your music playing in the background as if, hey, that's all we've been listening to. I remember the reason why they persecuted Michael Jackson. Y'all don't know why they had him up on trial for pedophile. Whatever that boy did, it wasn't about that. It was about your boy Paul McCartney, who had become knighted. That motherfucker wanted his music back. And you notice that there was no movie that had one goddamn Beatle music singing in it. That's because Michael owned their shit. But you could hear Motown in every fucking thing. And everything is, you know, it says, my girl, my girl. What do these little white boys know about my girl? They were not listening. Oh, here we go. Okay. They were not listening to My Girl. My Girl was all the way on the 1600 AM dial. White people were all the way up on 25 or 50 or 80. That's where you had to go with white WMCA and all that. There wasn't nobody playing our shit. We had to go all the way down there. But now you see white people playing My Girl. And then I went to see Jack Nicholson with this other whole white cast singing and playing Marvin Gaye. Sexual healing. And they get it on. I said, oh shit. They're playing our shit. But you would never know it when you begin to see that the matter-of-fact reality of day-to-day living in humankind is never attributed to you. Every movie they make about you is about a fucking criminal past. Or some kind, like what they're getting ready to do with Denzel Washington. They never give you a matter-of-fact crossover rites of passage with black people. It's always this brand new actress. Oh, she has got men. Now they're going to do another thing about this queen heifer in England. And yet another shit about the queen. Don't you see by now who's ruling you? Who's got your asses? Who's got you by the cojones? Listen. Modern technology has shown that language, I've named the Kumadu, which you call Hebrew. I've renamed it the Kumadu. More commonly called Hebrew, contain the sigil patterns that result from the Foschi. Listen carefully, let me just tell you this. The language and the signs that you see as Hebrew, listen, The Hebrew or Aburu may be considered a seed language left by our ancestors as evidence of the power buried within the older languages. In fact, the modern technology has now shown in the brain that the Hebrew sigils that you see now, they are resulting from the phosgene flare patterns of the human brain. So when you take a picture of the human brain and there's phosgene flare patterns from the thinking process, you see the sigils of the Hebrew symbols. The phosgene flare patterns of the human brain. They are the same shapes and patterns taken by spinning vortexes of light and sound. So when light and sound are spinning and a vortex matching thought, you get the Hebrew language. Or the Hebrew sigils of the 22. In other words, the Word of God courses through every man and woman's nervous system. This language encodes the natural waveform geometries of the material world. Kumandu is a harmonic language which emulates the waveform properties of light. In other words, when you speak that Kumandu the right way, you affect light. And you entrain sound harmonics to your voice. And thus you are manipulating the velocities and the vortexes of being. See now, to get you to know that what the word means and why language is so important and what the word really is about and why you are locked down in a semantic prison, that every time you try to realize who you are, there is a language barrier that stops you from understanding and understanding the thresholds above your lockdown sequence. So your lockdown sequence today presently is English.
That's right, that's right.
The English language keeps you in a lockdown sequence. That's why they have 6 different dictionaries for the English language. Because they have to keep revising it to keep shifting the furniture in the lockdown prison. So when they shift the cot over to here, and this time the bar's over there, you think you're in someplace new. So every time they give you a new commercial about what's getting ready to happen, they shift the semantic dynamics, and your mind now occupies this form of the cube, and you think you're someplace new. They keep the other corner dark, and then when they light it up, you think you're going someplace else.
So we need new dictation?
You're over here now. But you're in the same goddamn cube. 6 by 4, what is it? Y'all did time, some of y'all did. 6 by 8? That ain't nothing bad.
They got dorms now.
They got dorms now? Oh shit, see they can't give us no housing, but they'll put it in there, right? That's fucked up, brother.
Anybody.
Idiot. Think about what I'm saying. This language encodes the natural waveform geometries of the material world. They are the sound keys to the vibratory matrix of reality itself. They are sonic equations encoded within the ancient mantras and names of gods capable of directly affecting the nervous system for healing and higher states of consciousness or for mind control and killing. Let me say that again. They are the sound keys to the vibratory matrix of reality itself. I'm giving you the grail. This is why they don't teach you Hebrew. This is why they got after Yahweh ben Yahweh. Because if you start speaking Hebrew, shit starts in training. You begin to lock in automatically to frequencies that the words are in training. Medunecha. They are sonic equations encoded within the ancient mantras and names of gods, capable of directly affecting your nervous system for healing and higher consciousness. This is why heart is in effect. So now here we are again. Ancient masters reincarnated to participate in the elevation of consciousness once again. Here we are again, brothers and sisters. This ain't new. We've been here before. We're out here now. We back. What we going to do with this time period? What we going to do now that we're here with this knowledge? This is exactly what it is that we are saying, that you are changing. When you walk out of here, you are not the way you were when you walked in. Never. You are either lower in the consciousness index scale or you're higher. We are now fast approaching what the Kemites call the Pa Honuk, the time of the phoenix, where we will inherit great knowledge, but at great price. We will learn the existence of a worldwide pyramid system in prehistory erected like antenna on key energy grids or meridians, which are actually a musical system of notes and harmonics to stabilize the tectonic plates of the planet. The pyramids are actually musical instruments, which is why we haven't flown off into space and gone completely insane. Every now and then the musical notes go off to keep harmonizing. Every now and then this jackass tries to disrupt it by blowing up an A-bomb. Like the ones he tried to get across, to sneak across the ocean. Even the general said, nah, this is getting crazy. Now we gotta out this fool. Because I know that any atomic war means the end of white people. Let me say that again. And y'all listen to me carefully. Any atomic war means the end of white people. Y'all can't take the heat. Let me say that again. Y'all can't take the heat. You all know it would be foolhardy to try to blow up a bomb anywhere around your proximity, so that's why you take it offshore. So now you did blow it up in 9/11, because that's why 9/11, they ain't built nothing there. They can't. It's radiation. 2 micronukes were set off. If you were to take a shot from up out of space, you would see the damn place is still glowing. So none of the workers said, hell no, I ain't going to build on that.
That's why they all got sick.
That's why they're all still sick. It's radiation poisoning. Radiation poisoning. They blew up a micronuke down there.
You see the 9/11 eyewitness?
No.
The guy was on the stairs. He said it was burning for months.
Yeah.
He was still on the Hoboken Piers where he lived. After she said,
yeah, the glow of the thing, the steel, the guys who were digging up and saying, okay, we cleaning the rubble, they kept finding molten shit. There was a river of molten, a sea of molten steel down there still bubbling.
I worked there for 9 months.
Yeah, you need to start taking some Juice Plus, brother. Yes. I'll talk about that a little later. Let me get to this. We will learn of the existence of a worldwide pyramid system. That every stone block in the Great Pyramid is tuned to a specific note and octave harmonic in your bloodstream. Which is why I think it is now time to upgrade the metaphysical IQ of the children of these ancient ones, by introducing you to some of the symbols and sounds left by them as guides along the path of the hidden light to help their prodigal sons and daughters find their way home. Brothers and sisters, the essence of your freedom and of your slavery lies in decoding, learning, and understanding the language of light. The sum total of all you are today, the present conditions we live in as a humanity, all stem from the science and the language we are about to explore. And the journey begins again in a little known obscure book called the Sefer Yetzirah, the book of the forming of the world. The Sefer Yetzirah is called the book of the forming of the world, or the book of formation. The Sefer Yetzirah consists of 6 chapters. 6 chapters, that's all that's in there. 6 chapters, all of which comprise 33 paragraphs. Just 33 paragraphs. Are we getting some kind of sign here? 6 chapters, 33 paragraphs. Get ready. First chapter has 12 paragraphs. The second chapter has 5 paragraphs. The third chapter has 5 paragraphs. The fourth chapter has 4 paragraphs. The fifth chapter has 3 paragraphs. And the 6th chapter has 4 paragraphs. We will peek at the first 17 paragraphs to open the way for a clearer understanding of what black people were currently facing right now and why nothing appears to be working collectively towards our evolution in social empowerment as well as cosmic consciousness. The Sefer Yetzirah again translates to mean the Book of Formation, and to decipher its meaning we must understand the secret code of the Tree of Life. Now, the Tree of Life is not what you see symbolically as a big tree with fruits and apples and shit hanging from it. The Tree of Life is a metaphorical and metaphysical schematic representing the external expression and progression of ineffable omniscient intelligence into the crystalline matrices of form. Let me say that again. It is a metaphorical schematic representing the external expression and progression of ineffable omniscient intelligence into the crystalline matrices of matter of form. The tree is a symbolic reference to the angles taken by mind energies of the universe. It is a reference of the angles taken by the mind energies of the universe as it emanates from its core into holographic spheres of living light. The Tree of Life is a schematic of the expression of universal intelligence as it steps down, as it is retracting upon itself. It is stepping down its vibrational energies. The retraction process slows the vibratory rate of its existence, of its being. So as the entity, as the creator, as who it is that is the intelligence, and I don't want to even say its name because then you've given it a substance so that you can focus on it. There's nothing you can focus on of what I'm talking about. It is the universal all. The thing that we are talking about contracts upon itself by 10%. In the contraction, it slows the area that is contracted down. So in the slowing down process, it begins to condense into its infinite and ultimate potentials. And this is who you are. The condensation of the Creator becomes us. As the Creator condenses, you ain't got to look for no white man sitting on a cloud. You ain't got to wait from some faggoty looking boy with a skirt saying that he's going to redeem you. You are the Christ. You are the God that you seek. Christians got to grow the fuck up. We are locked down by Christians. I know that you're going to get pissed with me, but you got to get up out the goddamn church if you're going to evolve. You have to understand that the God you're worshiping is a second order creation of a second order being. He can't know God. He's an afterthought. He's an after effect. He came after everything. Tell you they keep tuning in. And this is no aspersion. When white people begin to wake up and know that it is not their world, and they keep finding it, every time they look for themselves, they find these big black faces, and they say, well, what the hell do we say now? And it's becoming so more evident that the world was once black, that when P.E. said fear of a black planet, I said, that's it, right there. That's the psychosis. So what I'm saying to you, beloved brothers and sisters, is get your mind out of the fact that there's something sitting up in the sky, and that thing is looking down for everything that you do, and punishing you, rewarding you, doing all this to say, okay, you can come, no, you can't. No. That's bullshit. It's all one thing. And as that retraction becomes more sophisticated, retracts, the condensation process becomes the infinite potential that you participate in called life. The Sefer Yetzirah translated to mean the Book of Formation, and to decipher its meaning we must understand the Tree of Life. The tree is a symbolic reference to the angles taken by the mind energies of universal intelligence. The ancestors stated that the mind of God is viewed through the lens of third density in 10 spheres of intelligence as light. 10 spheres of intelligence as light, which when drawn two-dimensionally is seen as the schematics of a tree bearing 10 spheres of intelligence as its fruit. This tree is bearing 10 spheres of intelligence as its fruit. Now I'm asking you to work with your right brain because we're going to go into the left brain. These 10 spheres of intelligence have encoded with them the geometric templates and mathematical properties and formulas to create the forms of third density life forms through the manipulation of light by way of sound. It also reveals the angles taken by thought and the secrets to their manifestation, manipulation, and suppression. To become proficient in the use of this language, we must over and understand that all is mind, and that mind and movement become sound, light, geometry, and number. Let me say that again. All is mind, and mind in movement becomes sound, light, geometry, and number. So the universal mind in movement becomes sound, light, geometry, and number. Life on the material realm is an organic crystallization of these factors. It is an interlacing tapestry of etheric fibers of atomic origin, consolidated by the above-mentioned phenomena. Of the dynamics of number, the value and property called 4 is seen as the foundational resonant template for the construction of the rudimentary activities, with the numbers 3, 6, 8, and 12 acting as the interlacing values and properties delineating the third density envelope of individual perception. Thus 6, the number of the cube, and 4, the foundation upon which it is built, equals to 10. The 10 spheres of intelligence as sound and light, known as Kabbalah, and the spherical 10 principles come together. Why is 4 the foundational number? Because as I will show you here very quickly, the number 4 is the foundation to everything. Why is that? The number 4 is the doorway to understanding the 10 Sephiroth. Why is that? Because 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 equals 10. Four is the foundation. That's it. When it comes to the material world, it stops right there at that number. It is there that the root, that consciousness takes root into the material world. When all of the light and sound vectors begin to interlace and form the quality of the vibration known as 4. 4 is not a number. It is a consciousness. Numbers, as you know it, does not exist in the abstract as you see it. You use it for counting separate things. But when the Illuminati use it, they use it as they are principal dynamics of thought. These are living entities. Numbers from 1 to 9 are alive. They're alive as properties of life within you. Everything in your body, everything in your mind is coded around a number. And that number from 1 to 9 is where you are trapped at this particular time. You're trapped someplace in between 1 and 2. Some of you elevate to 3. Some may cross over into 4. But none of us have ever crossed over into 8 and 9 and 10 yet, because we're still locked down in certain numericals that keep us in a threshold. Now, very quickly, since I don't have much time before the break, I'm going to go over what it is that I'm going to put into your mindset, and the next time I come back, I will elaborate fully. Please go to the next. We spoke of this. First chapter, 12 paragraphs. Next. You have to go twice when you hit it. The first 17 chapters we will have to talk about at another time. Next. Notice that the book of formation is not just about what is written in the text, listen carefully, but how the text is constructed and where key points appear in the body of the work. I was going to teach you that, but you know, this is, I told you it was going to be a 10-hour lecture, but I'm just going to give it to you within the last 3. The master teacher begins to formally admonish his student about the importance of the numeral 10 in the 4th paragraph of the first chapter. Wait a minute now. He tells you about the number 10 that I spoke about in the 4th paragraph of the first chapter. This is how the book is written, in these codes that you need to decipher. Why is this important? Next. Remember, the focus of the teacher is on the fundamental expression of material consciousness as calibrated through the number 10. Thus, chapter 1, paragraph 4 represents the sum total of the numbers 1 through 4, which equals 10. The numbers 1 and 4 represent the elemental progression of sound and light consolidating into the foundational templates of third density life. Next. The number 1 is called Yod. The number 2 is called He. The number 3 is called Wa or Va. And the number 4 is called He, which is what you know as Yud He Wav He. That is not Jewish. Next. Y is the Atziloth, the abode of emanation. H is Braya, the abode of creation. W is Yesera, what we were speaking about, the abode of formation. H is Ashaya, where you have in the Bible? Isaiah, the abode of action. Next. Here you have in the template form everything that each one of the 4 worlds represents. And I'll leave it for you to look over, and we will go over this at another time. It's there on the tape. Next. When you look at the Yud He Wav He, you're dealing with fire and sight, air and hearing, water and taste, earth and smell. So each one of these are formulas based upon the 4 elements and the 4 senses. Your senses are the elemental sentinels. In other words, the elements are conscious as themselves. When they come together in your body, they become conscious of themselves because of the spark of life that you represent. You are now tabulating and calibrating your world based upon the consciousness of these senses. So, they can actually get to you by orchestrating your senses. By messing with your senses, they can lock down your consciousness. Yes. The number 10 represents the 10 Sephiroth, which is known in the arcane sciences as the tree of life. It is not this tree of life, though it was represented by our Olmec ancestors, our Tamoan Khan ancestors, as such. Next. Also as by the Aztec ancestors or Mayan ancestors, as well as Olmec ancestors, as such. You see it here. Next. But when we talk about the tree of life, this is what we are speaking about. This is a template I want you to become familiar with because I want you to know this, and there's a good brother, my good brother, Brother Rashid, who will be teaching on this and is teaching very well on this. I wanted to give you this as a template for you to understand what it's about. You are watching the emanations from what we look at as Ketha, Chokma, Bina. Now, these are the first 3 of the emanations of the all once it contracts upon itself. I'm going to give you that at another time. Burn this particular template and the angles, all of them. There is nothing here that's superficial. Nothing on this particular template is superficial. Every angle has a meaning. Every one. Now notice, you see these angles, right? It's everything that has everything to do with anything in the physical form. These are what they call Ketha, Chokma, Bina. This does not exist on all of what you see. If you were to go back to the first template, you would not have seen Dot, where they got Darth Vader from. Hesed, Gubra, Tibra, Nesha, Hud, Yasud, Malkut. These names are not names, they're formulas of light and sound. Formulas of consciousness. Next. Each one of them means something. Ketha means the source. Chokma means wisdom. Bina means understanding. Chesed means mercy. Gura means power. Tipareth means beauty. Netzach means victory. Hod means glory. Yasud means foundation. Malkuth means the kingdom. Look where they put the kingdom. Look very carefully at what I've just showed you. Check the schematics, and we're going to catch up with that in a minute. Go right ahead. The first tree of the 10 Sephiroth means 10. Each one of the Sephiroth are harmonically amplified by 9. There is no 10. 10 is actually a duplication of the 1 on the physical realm. So, whenever you are speaking about the exponential progression of life into the crystalline properties of movement and form, you're looking at it by exponential levels of 9. So the first tree is 10 Sephiroth, but harmonically exacerbated by 9, the second tree becomes 19, but then it becomes 19 and then becomes 20. Again, the third one goes by another 19, it goes to 28, it goes to 37, it goes to 46, it goes to 55. It keeps going back to what? Yes, because there's no other number past that. Everything exponentially is represented by the harmonic outgrowth of that one root seed. Go. Now listen, in the sixth tree you see an equivalent of 55. Not only does this number add up to 10, but when the numbers 1 through 10 are added together, they total 55. So thus you can't go farther than that. Next. This is the exponential progression of the Sephirothic tree. What does it look like? It looks like the macrocosmic snowflake. So everything that you could study that has a geometric form to it, from the blood cell all the way out to the snowflake, all the way out to planets, all the way out to gods, all of them have their root in this symbolism. Next. The 22 Aleph Beta of the Sephiroth. Next. Listen carefully. Look well at these symbols. Do not think they're Jewish. Get away from the Jewish bullshit. They are not Jewish. This is the Aburu. This is the language that the ancient Kemetic priests, when they were being chased out by the Hyksos, they began to quickly say, what do we do with all this knowledge? In their supreme brilliance, they put everything in accordance with coded language that you have to elevate in consciousness to come to the understanding of. So until this devil came to a point where he could understand what the hell was going on, he was not going to unlock the code. But it passed on down. He was trained in the inner temples and it leaked out. And that's why we in the shit we into today. Because we gave it to an immature motherfucker. So now, when you start seeing these, all these are phosgene patterns taken by the brain in higher thought patterns. And they have become a language. They're not only the phosgene imprints of thought patterns, next. They're also the star configurations around your head. Look, this is the astral alphabet. This is the constellations that it's akin to. Here you have the specific constellation that they are connected to. And here you have the Hebrew alphabet. Notice, brothers and sisters, that the language of light and the Hebrew alphabet, you're looking at flames. If you were to take a candle and light a match and watch a flame dance back and forth, you are watching the language of fire speak to you. Well, all light, all language is based on light. And what's the best evidence or physical evidence of light? Fire. So fire is essentially, these are the Kumedu, or the fire language that our ancestors created in order to encode the millions of years of information that they had. They had to make it in coordination with your own mind, your own brain work patterns. Next. So what are we looking at? We're looking at the Sephiroth as the audio-spectral geometric template of universal existence. Next. And they repeat in a cycle and exist in 300 and 231 gates, and it comes to pass that all that is formed and all that is spoken emanates from a single name, the Sefer Yetzirah. This is what they hid from you. This is what they hide from Christians when they say in the beginning was the Word. You think some jackass named John said that. John didn't ever exist. John is a formula. John is a formula because there was no J's back then. is ION, which is an ion, so it was the atom speaking to you, fools. Next. Here is the 231 gates by which light code transmissions take into manifestation. From this particular wheel that you see, these encoded scriptures right here, there are 231 gates connecting everything to the center. The center emanates outward and then emanates back to itself through your thinking patterns. Yes. Next. The 4 cycles of the 231 gates. The first cycle is Atziluth, emanation, 182 gates of creation, 50 gates of understanding. The second cycle, Briar, or creation, the 231 gates of creation. The third cycle, Yetzirah, formation, the 231 gates of initiation. This is why I started here. So you can understand the world of form before I even get to beginning the world of creation and emanation. Before you can even understand that, the fourth cycle, which is what you all are coming from, is based upon redemption, the 50 gates of understanding and ascension, the 182 gates of Ashiatic redemption. This is what we're doing in the last 20, 25 years. I was dealing with this level. Now I'm here. But I'm hoping that I'm around long enough to get you here and there. Next, very quickly. Here you have a schematic showing you the different patterns that light takes. Everything is a schematic of light and sound. And the angles of creation are right there in front of you. Patterns where you can definitely form things out of nothing. Because everything that you want to exist already exists. You have to form the template by your mind. And when your mind forms the template, the sound begins to fill out the template. And when you understand how your thought process and everything else works, you will begin to understand that everything is based upon these schematics. Next. All together, you see, and I'm just giving you abbreviations, you are watching the different patterns taken, all these being light code sounds, all these being the vectors and the ways that the sound takes to connect together with these properties to bring about the kingdom. Next. Again, you are looking at the macrocosmic snowflake. Next. We deal with the Ein Sof. Ein, take out the I, what do you have? Where do you see those 2 letters? Anu and Amen. You have to remember they take away and they shift stuff around. The Ein doesn't exist. You can't even think about it. The Ein Sof is the first creation. This is the creation that you see. Or even before you see anything, this is the one that gives you the property of the triad. Next. You're looking at the expression. What you're looking at is the condensation process that I was telling you about. From out of nothing, you are watching, don't look at it from the top down. You look at it from the condensation as the Ein begins to retract upon itself. And as the Ein retracts upon itself, you get Ketha, the crown. Next. These 3 pillars represent the 3 aspects of the higher properties of Ketha, Chokhmah, and Bina. These are above everything that we see created. This is the triple head or the triple Godhead that they talk about. The 3 spaces of God, the 3 faces of God that exist before existence. So when you see these 3 properties, know that they are seen as 3 different pillars. And each pillar represents the male force, this one here. This on the other side represents the female force. And this is the neutral balance of consciousness in between the 2 that harmonizes the properties of both. Next. Notice that they have this on the Catholic symbols. Look at it. What's that? Who else? And what is this? Don't tell me Valentine did. You are watching one of the most sacred symbols called the Visica Piscis. Go on, real quick. Wish I had the time. This is one of those lectures. I'd love to give it to you. This is what we talk about malice and mercy. This is masculine. This is feminine. So when we talk about judgment, we talk about the feminine, which is why they got a woman with the blindfold. And here you have the neutral balance or mildness connecting the two sides. Consciousness. The order of condensation from Ketha to Chakma, which is wisdom, to understanding, to mercy. Notice something is missing. Right here to mercy. Over here, dot. Remember, it's missing. They don't ever put it on the original one that they show you. Why not? We'll talk. Here we go, down. This way. Here and then down into the kingdom. Next. This is all elementary. Now we put in the dot. But, know the rule. We cannot put the dart in at the same time we have Ketha. This is the hidden part of Ketha. This is knowledge. And this is what they are keeping you from. Go. Notice we broke down the four worlds. Dart runs between these two worlds. Notice that Absolute, Braya, Yesara, and Ashaya all have the kingdom, but have you noticed something about this kingdom as opposed to this kingdom, and this kingdom? Quickly.
And I put this in the only one in the side.
Say it again.
And I put this the only one in the side.
Yes. Mount Pluth is the only one there. Why?
Because it's
It comes back to the one. But see, there's something that getting you. Notice. Hit it again. No, go back. Go back one. Let me just do this for you quickly. I know that you want to get your break, and I'm going to get you here. We'll get you back.
Sorry, buddy.
Can you go back one? Okay. Notice. Remember we said there were the pillars, right? Remember now we had Sheset and Gibura is the mother and father of Tipara. Nezach and Hod is the mother and father of Yesod. Chochmah and Bina are the mother and father of Dat. What? Who is the mother and father of Malkut? Really? Okay, now I've delineated it for you to look. Have you noticed anything about what I was trying to show you? Keep going. Hit it. Where would you find the mother and father of Malkuth? Well, you're going to have to go up on the Nile, around the kingdom of Abydos. Next. And on the temple wall, on the temple of Issa. Next, you will find this symbol. The flower of life that this guy named Dronvalo Melchizedek is pimping. That was sitting in the temple of Abydos. Your ancestors drew it. They put it there for a reason. Why? Because it was another part of the key to let you understand and understand exactly what the Malkuth kingdom was about. Next. Even your boy, Leonardo da Vinci, who studied Kemetic sciences, knew what it was. Next. Here it is. The flower of life. The flower of life essentially is a series of circles interlacing to create specific symbols through which life and the forces of light and sound become manifested reality. Next, upon this template, you will find the mother and father of here they are. But they never get displayed. Why? Because once you understand, because remember the kingdom is where you are right now. See, if you don't know who the mother and father of the kingdom are, your ass is a slave. You are maintained. You are locked down. You don't know who your parents are. I'm not just talking about your biological parents. I'm talking about the parental parts of your spirit and your soul. Your spirit and your soul is gone. See, when you get initiated, when you get initiated and you've been initiated, they put you where? They put you in the northeastern section. Ooh. Oh, how many Masons in the house? You know what I'm talking about. They put you directly into the northeastern gate to sit down. That's because now you're initiated in. We can tell you where you were and why it is we've been keeping that part secret. So now, what's supposed to be looking correctly is this is what's been missing. The hidden societies know what the mother-father principle to your kingdom is, which means they know the secret of manifestation and formation. In other words, because you no longer speak the language of light, you no longer control your own destiny. They control you by manipulating the light and sound systems through your television, through everything you do, your TV, your computer. Everything is the use of these energies to create the Malkuth kingdom that they now rule. Next. So the real schematic is supposed to look, essentially, this is the seed of life. The seed of life we'll go into a little later on, another time. Next. That is called the Visica Pieces. The Visica Pieces is when two circles come together and they create what? What does this look like?
MasterCard.
MasterCard. My God, brother, don't you have a woman? Haven't you ever gone down and worshiped? Given homage? This is the cosmic yoni. This is through which all things are manifest on the physical realm. Go forward. Notice that in this particular yoni, even the behind is here. Even the anus is here. This is the cosmic pussy that we've been talking about for the longest period of time. Remember I told you about it? I thought I was crazy? There it is. The Visica Pieces right here. Next. And look what happens upon it. Around that big yoni vagina up in the sky, everything is manifested. This particular pattern is the pattern of manifestation. It is through the cosmic yoni that the sounds and the sights, that's why your mother sings you a lullaby. That's why talking to you while you're in the womb forms you. Because you are inside of the Sephiroth. When you are there, you are now forming parts of your brain. Parts of your working spirit, parts of your dialect, everything is being formed at this particular time. Next. So now we see that the Visica Pieces or the Visica Pussy is here where the Christians been using it. They got Christ inside of it and even decorated the butthole this way. So sisters, you got to know why they target you. You are the one through which we use your mitochondria to come back into the earth. If they fuck with you, they fuck with us. All of us, collectively. They take us out. So they hide who they are inside of all these little paintings, not you realizing that this cross here has to do with the fixed signs of the zodiac. And here they are again when they deal about the Sphinx itself, when they start talking about the four directions, and this being Leo, Taurus, Aquarius. No, this is Aquarius. Scorpio. Next. Know that we are dealing with again the kingdom. Here we go again. We just showed you this. Now here it is crossing over. As you condense through Darth, you come into this kingdom of Briar. As you condense through Briar into Yetzirah, you condense through Yetzirah by way of Yesud and Tifad and Darth, you come down into the kingdom. Next. So what happens? We are looking at, again, the cosmic vagina. We are watching. There is a condensation process going further down. But what have we done? We have added the mother and the father. So now we have 12.
Yes.
Actually, we have 13. But the 13th now is above us.
Yes.
And there you have part of the what I was telling you about, the decoding or the cipher of the 13th Sapphira. The cipher of the 13th Sapphira is they took away the mother and the father of Malkuth. Therefore, they now know what to do to control the kingdom. Since you don't know that there are 12 Sephiroth and not 10, and that you're operating on only one side of your brain, they can fuck with your world because you don't know who the mama and the daddy is. You the mama and the daddy.
Right.
You were removed from the tree of life. You're the outcast. You're the stone that was discarded. Next. So now when we start putting the tree back together, we're putting together what? The first cube, the second cube, and the third cube. Notice that we are in lockdown on the third cube. And why I said that we need to transcend the third cube of metaphoric space-time reality. Next. Understand too that these cubes now, with all 13 together, you see the top cube here, you see the second cube here, and you see the third cube. Here is where we lay trapped. Because this cube is based on perceptual references of metaphoric reality. What are those metaphoric realities? The psycho-spiritual cube of space. Next. I'll read you. The cube of space is actually a multidimensional model of psychological space and an integrated framework for the metaphors of embodied experience. Next. In other words, the cube is a construct of residual thought energies based on past experiences that were framed by the syntax used to fix and categorize the metaphors of language into the threshold parameters of three-space perceptual reality. Next. It sounds crazy, but keep on going real quick. We're going to get past all of this.
Oh, okay.
The syntax is the way in which words are put together to form phrases and sentences. Next. The definition of a metaphor, a figure of speech, listen, in which a term is transferred from the object it ordinarily designates to an object it designates only by implicit comparison. In other words, you are now comparing reality to the bullshit they give you to compare to based on the language that you define the reality with. Your language is your lockdown. The way you form the syntax and create the metaphors that you speak on your reality keeps you in lockdown. So when I begin to teach you how to get out of the framework of a lockdown, that's when I become dangerous. And that's when you become dangerous, because now you're talking to your peoples. All about this becomes now just regular street talk. And now everything changes in the dynamics and the reality. Real quick. Examples of psychosensual spatial syntax and metaphor used to construct this tube of space. We are gathered here today to share in the light of reason. Bittersweet memories. The sweet smell of success. These words are music to my ears. The velvet voice of Luther Vandross. A bright idea. Love stinks. Ending on a sour note. The world is watching. What are we looking at? We are looking at the way you frame reality through the sensual matrix of your four senses. So you now are speaking in terms of casting the original meaning onto other shit that does not even have a meaning, but you are creating a language and a syntax and a meaning based upon how you transfer that word. And that's how they fuck with your reality. They keep shifting the context by which you say this means this and that means that. Next. Thus we see that through the manipulation of syntax and metaphors to construct the perceptual envelopes of our individual realities, the Illuminati orchestrates the subconscious imprints of sense-based memories to cause us to construct a cube of metaphoric space that distorts and deflects the incoming light codes of third density redemption. Go ahead. The directions taken by each sense to build out the cube are psychospatial and based on the elemental used as the center or sphere of emotion-based consciousness, which leave their imprints on our neurological circuitry, our cognitive processing, our symbolic thoughts, and expression of our experiences. Next. Here are some words molded into syntax to give evidence of our psychospatial time-based orientation and the symbolic directions that construct and reinforce our light code lockdown very quickly. Obey your superiors. Stand on your right. Black pride. You my nigger. Center yourself. Face your uncertainties. Sinister implications. Black reparations. Black pride. Watch. You've got your whole life in front of you. Put the past behind you. Back in the old days. Sailing into uncertain waters. The object of my affection, the quiet voice inside, having lofty ideals. Now, I'm using these only as quick examples so that you understand that your language is constructing the lockdown. Go. Here you have these three pillars as we spoke before. Next. Now we see how these three pillars become the context by which we form the cube of your reality, and this is where I will wrap up. Quickly. The cube now is constructed, very quickly, of three space. The three Sephirothic pillars now become 1, 2, 3-dimensional areas of space. Understand that the three pillars of the Sephiroth essentially are telling you right now, I've told you there were is a two-dimensional schematic of a 10-dimensional reality. The 10-dimensional reality begins on the pattern of 3, which represents the three pillars. Next. Now you see that the three pillars now become the invested in structure of what becomes the lockdown code for the cube. From experience, life, from existence first. The first line is existence. The second line is life. The third line is experience. And each one has a sigil or a fire sigil that rules that one, the four of them meaning the four elementals, or the four elements of fire, air, water, and earth. Next. Notice that we see that all that comes in with existence is preconscious. All that comes in with life is unconscious, and then you see all that comes to the reality that we are here sharing and existing is an outgrowth of what is unconscious to what you see as conscious. So here's how we are working out the cube. Go ahead. The cube now, as we follow along on the spaces that we have written out, these three space, the three space now creates realities in conjunction with the direction that the lines are taking. And now through syntax, through our perception, we are filling out the cube, the individual cube of space. Next. Now we notice that in existence, we have one parameter, or the ceiling and the floor, to our cube. Next. Along the path, we see here another set to the cube, each one being a polarity, as we spoke of the other. Next. The next polarity is, we see the two sides, the outer sides. Next. Now, when we see all these three, the pillars of mercy and so forth, come together to fill the Sephirothic timetable for existence, next, we watch all of them come together at one time. And what we see is, along this line, we see past and future. Along this line, we see sensation and perception. Along this line, we see the self, who we are, and that part of us that we wish to reach all the way up there that we don't know too much about, we call the other. Inside of this whole experiential reality becomes the cube that you, as the center, reference. These now become your perceptual thresholds. And it is these perceptual thresholds that they manipulate and keep you locked down in that box, in that cube. Again, we see that there is indeterminate, each one of these, and I'm putting them as a template for you to read because we will be coming back to it next. Again, you see the container also being added into union, movement, formation, cosmic consciousness, existence, unconscious, unconditioned, physical supports, resistance, indeterminate, contain a life. Keep going. I would explain everything. Now you see how the cube used with the sigils that I spoke to you about. Each one of these sigils become the borders of your reality. They use the Hebrew, what they call Ibiru, what I call the Kumedu, as threshold components to your consciousness matrix. They can set up this vibratory load. Know that inside of your computer, there are sigils set up in the form of circuits that vibrate these very tonal signals. The television, the new cube televisions, the one that have all the bright pictures, they're all lockdown frequencies that are coming off of this, and all you are doing, you can't turn off the television. Sometimes I look at this shit and I say, why can't I get up and go turn the damn thing off? Because they use these sigils and signals as ways to lock down your consciousness matrix. Keep going. And why am I saying this? Keep going. It's a hijacking the Kemetic Renaissance, fear of a black extraterrestrial. Go ahead. Here are the pyramid fault lines we spoke about. All of them. Patterns. All along here. And look along the Yucatan Peninsula and look along here. Keep going. The reason why I want you to see this is because the pyramids of Sakata are aligned to the star system Andromeda. Are you ready for your people? You've been bullshitting with the history class and these shit. Your people left you star signals. Your people left you a template to find your way back home. And if you get up off your ass in church and start studying the metaphysics and stop worrying about what this cracker's doing, you're always worried about the white man. He's worried about you. He's worried about you finding this shit out. But he's telling his own people. He's telling his own people right here in this new book. Keep going. I'll tell you about it in a minute. The symbol of Orion is set up directly like the pyramids of Giza. Exactly like the pyramids of Giza. Keep going forward. Look at the Nile River and look at the Milky Way. Look at the Nile River and look at the star systems along the Milky Way and look at where they put the pyramids. And your Christian priest tells you that astrology is wickedness. I just stood up. Here you are along the Nile River. Here you are along the celestial Nile River. Next. Here you are, the configurations of these particular... Yeah, we built the pyramids. So fucking what? Why did we build the pyramids? Why did we build the pyramids? Yeah, we do great things, but why do we do them? Is it for some stupid reason we ain't had nothing to do? Let's just hire a few dumb assholes. Let's put some bricks together. Look at Stonehenge. White people really think that they built that shit. White folks are something else. It's a star map, but you see what they're doing is they're talking to themselves, but they believe they're talking about themselves. They're not talking about themselves. They're talking to themselves, thinking they're talking about themselves. Think about that. Next, here's the map of Stonehenge, and people are not really picking up on what Stonehenge is. Stonehenge, Winterbourne, Stoke Barrows. Next, you see that it is aligned with the Pleiades star system. They left us places for us. They even left a little bit for white people to check out. Next. Very quickly, you watch Stonehenge, and now they figured out that Stonehenge essentially, next, that essentially Stonehenge is exactly what we've been telling you about when it comes to the star system. Next, you'll find out that Stonehenge essentially is the Vitruvian Man. Now you know Da Vinci studied our shit. He was persecuted. He said, they do not allow me to do the real occult work, so if I hide it in my artwork, and he got all this artwork, nobody can figure it out, but it's all about your secret sciences hidden inside of the artwork. Next, you see here that in the Sephara, inside of here, you will see that these points of light, next, represent this. Here you have the Vitruvian Man. You remember what he looked like? Well, watch the patterns, the angles. The same angles with the hands outstretched and the legs. Next, look who he puts up there. Delusions of grandeur. He believes that he finds something out, he must put himself in what he discovers. It's the same goddamn thing they did to America.
Yep.
They discovered America. Now they discovered what Africans have been doing. All they have to do is colonize the shit. You don't want it. You don't want to talk about it. You want to talk about our great history, but you don't want to claim the mystery. So we'll come step the fuck in and take it from you. I'll just put myself in there. Look like Tom Cruise, don't it? Next. Anybody know what this is? Yeah, it's a pyramid. It's Olmec Maya. But I'm not going to tell you yet. No, it's not Chichen Itza. No, not Tikal. Next. Look at it again. Look at it. This is your ancestors' buildings, John.
Washington, D.C.
Looks like Washington, D.C., doesn't it? Keep going. It is Teotihuacan. Teotihuacan? Oh, really? What is a Teotihuacan? Hit me. Teotihuacan is Tahuti, the city of Tahuti, here in the Americas. The city of Tahuti. The city of Teotihuacan. And you think that you was just over there in Africa. The city of Teotihuacan is aligned up to the clusters of the Pleiades and the Orion belt. But it's so deep because if you were to see the Pleiades and look at this symbol of Jehudi, hit me, you would see that. Wow. Okay, hit me again. Keep that form in mind. Keep that form in mind. They left you. Signs and symbols. Find your way back. Next. A cluster of pyramids that nobody goes to because they look all ruined up. But this cluster is directly related to the pyramids. I mean to the Pleiades star system. Hit me quick. Here we have at Angkor, at the Khmer Empire in Cambodia. Next. Here's the star map Perseus, the same star map Perseus you see in Angkor in Cambodia. Next. And here we are on Mars. Here you have a cluster that they found in Mars. You know they're not telling you everything they found it there. Hit me. Check out what they found on Mars.
Black faces.
Check it out. Check it out. Old cities. Check it. Next. We're almost done. Check out again. Another constellation and look what they found on it. Of course, the rock hit like that and it just bounced and that came up. There it is. Next, quickly. Check out in Sidonia, Mars. Check out the way that these clusters that you saw those pyramids at that I told you was all bunched up, they're in the same order, in the same configuration. And then with that face on Mars, keep in mind that the face on Mars was also shown later earlier to be either a lion or a black man's face. And that black man's face, the same face on Mars, was the same face of a black woman that was in Panama when they evaded. And they went to Panama not to kill or to release or to get, what's his name, but to kill this woman.
1 minute.
All right?
1 minute.
Next.
1 minute on the tape.
1 minute on the tape? Yeah. All right, here we go in Sidonia. Very quickly. Look at the patterns. If you want to shut it off now real quick, you only have 5 minutes left.
Now let it run until it go off.
Okay, let it go.
Okay.
We only want to get this last thing.
Oh, you want to get it? All right.
Look very carefully at the Sidonia, the face, the cluster of pyramids here, and the D&M pyramid at this particular point. Very quickly. Next. As we see that there are a grid pattern to everything that you see on Mars at this particular time, matching, next, the same grid patterns as you will see here, manifested the same way that the three pyramids, the three-gate pyramids in Kemet, in Egypt, Giza. Now you're looking at the face that is on Mars. Now look at that face. Now, because we as black people don't want to claim the mysteries, and we only want to focus on the histories, white people are coming along, and as they did with every damn thing they find, they stick their face on it. That's right. Keep going, brother. Next. You're watching now as supposedly the resolution is getting better and closer and closer. Next. This is what this cracker is doing. He is putting his fucking face on. He is putting his face on Aristotle. He's got his Jesus. He's got all of these crackers up there now as the Mars people. This is the new Mars face. So you better hurry up and get to the mystery part of your life and your people and your ancestors, because they are beating you to that space. They're trying to get a vicarious type of spirituality by putting themselves in every place that was spiritual to us. Yes. And here we go. Right now, this is the new face on Mars. So this is Zeus. Now here, he do have a little bit of tan now. Next. Here we have a specific symbol that was found on there in a mountainous region. Looks like a pyramid. Next. If you were to look at this particular symbol, you would see what we are about to see, what we saw just a few frames ago. Next. You are watching essentially as the crystallization of this particular pyramid gets more and more. Next. You are watching the Vitruvian Man, next, coming up here. Next, here. So, the Vitruvian Man, again, another symbol left for us to see. But of course, what does he do? Wait, check it. He puts his ass in it. Now, instead of putting his ass in Stonehenge, which he looks like he belongs, this motherfucker puts himself in the middle of the desert, where African peoples are, where there ain't no white people, where there were no white people. What does he do? He puts himself in there. Understand right here. It's called the Hidden Records. In it, he decodes everything that we were supposed to be decoding for ourselves. And he is putting his face on every damn thing. Next. Again, the Codex, where he sees himself inside of the pyramids of Kemet. Here it is, the Vitruvian Man. Next. Brothers and sisters, as I end, I will tell you this, that if you don't start looking up to find the Merkaba of consciousness within you, you will not know who you really are. And again, the two Sephiroth that are missing will stay missing, because it is within you. The two Sephiroth is the black man and the black woman. Because we are here to recreate or to bring back the true kingdom, the kingdom of the Spirit. And wasn't that what Yahweh ben Yahweh said he wanted to bring back? The kingdom, the true kingdom? And when they came after him, Well, exactly what it is that is missing inside that Sephiroth of creation and formation, down in the third cube of metaphoric space, it is the cube that you are trapped in. It is the cell, it is the consciousness containment that they keep black people in. Next, I want to let people know that we thank you for all of your kind attention. We couldn't get that up on the screen. Next. But we also want to let you know, beloved brothers and sisters, here it is.
All right.
This is the wounded womb, and this is what, brother, this is the work of young brother Junior Coggins that I was telling you about. Let's hear it for the brother. Within the next week or two, we are hoping to get this book on the market. It is currently 710 pages. I have chocked it full of so much shit. It's gonna keep you reading for as long as you like looking at the tapes. It's going to keep you reading and underlying. I have put everything in there for you. Sisters, you will know what it is that they've been doing. Brothers, you will understand why they're doing what they're doing to our sisters. It is breaking down, as it says here, the suppressed truth behind the anatomy, which is your body, the metaphysics, which is outside of the body, the politics, which is the body politics of the beast, and the economics of women's diseases. All of it. All four, the foundation, the four foundation about why it is that our sisters are ill. Next. And sisters, we give you thanks. Next. Also, this also is my Queen's book. It is called 7 Steps to Healing and Wellness. It is a powerful book to beginners, for you to start healing, for you to understand healing from a whole other perspective. It is a real quick and easy read, but it's a profound read. And I also urge you to definitely get it. Next. Okay, we're back again to the wounded womb. Back to. Thank you very much. And for those of you who wish to reserve a copy of the wounded womb, I ask that you come up, and if you wish to reserve it or to put down a foundational, or if you want to put down a down payment on it, you put your name here on this. We have a flyer for the wounded womb. Let me see if I can get this thing. We have a flyer for the wounded womb, and for those of you who wish to come up and to help us, to aggrandize us, we also have a hat for you to drop in some love on.
All right, let's give it up. Really quick. The sooner we get back from the break, the sooner we can get our Q&A on and take it to the next level. Come on, Bishop. The break is a half.
Your warm black hands together. Awesome. Over the very brief period that I've been teaching Kabbalism to the community, a lot of things that I have in my notes, a lot of things that I've called from my study, they, at the time, not necessarily become relevant. Today was one of the moments when a large corpus of information became very relevant for me with Reverend Valentine's exposure of Kabbalah and redeeming the truth. That was awesome. And I want to share something with you to dovetail off of what he said about this sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I took notice in my study that these are the 3 superlatives. Now in Kabbalism, all things come from these 3 superlatives. Now the Hebrew alphabet, each letter is a number. So each Sephiroth, when you redeem it to its Hebrew letters, for Chokmah, Kether, and Bina, or Bina, these are all numeric potencies. Now this is, of course, the crown. This is, of course, Chokmah. This is, of course, Bina. Understanding, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, whatever. Now, these are all numbers. This number is 620. This number is 73. This number is 67. Binary equals 67. Now when we redeem the tree and bring the invisible Sephiroth, which is Da, the portal that these express themselves through, this Sephiroth equals this auspicious number, 474. Now you do the math. Whoever got a pen, do the math. Add it up. It equals 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you ever had those experiences where you know you're on to something, but you be like, how can I express it without sounding like people be like, so what? Right? I've got tons of this stuff that did not become relevant until today and relatively recent. So the good news is on the 28th of this month, we're going to be here in this room and I'm going to do the master class on Kabbalah, and we're going to go into Sefer Yetzirah, we're going to go into the cube of space even more, and then I'm going to introduce you to a black Kabbalah called the Kabbalah HaShakora. Okay? And with that, I said enough. Peace. I see you on the 28th.
I want you to know that Brother Rashid,
3 o'clock.
the Brother Rashid is going to be brothers from the Mu Underground, who is going to be one of the heir apparents for the teaching in the communities of the hidden wisdom and the hidden knowledge. This is something that's missing from our schools. It's missing from even the Masonic temples. Being that I have been in the Masonic temples and I have completely extricated myself. I went there to teach. They didn't hear it, so I won't be there. They're trying to open up a whole new Masonic lodge, and they've started down in Florida, which is wonderful. And we have begun to make steps to bring Masonry back to the black. And Masonry today has dovetailed out into this satanic shit that they call the Illuminati. The Illuminati infested Masonry for a long time. And they took them information and they ran havoc with that information. So everything I'm talking here has to do with Masonic principles. But before I move forward, very quickly, I would like to introduce you to a Queen Sister who said she wants to come up and give an offering to the moment. And she would like to sing for you a song, to me, that had a lot of meaning. Because when I first heard it, I didn't understand it. When I first heard it, my father first played it. But then when he played it, my father played it and explained to me what it meant. It tore right through me. And as far as the tree is concerned, dealing with the Sephirothic tree and where we are in the tree of death, this sister is going to sing a song called Strange Fruit. Sister, come forward, please. Let's hear it.
Basically just want to repaint the picture that was painted by my ancestor, Billy Holiday. And if you guys could go there with me, I'm going to get my antennas out because I know it's a lot of energy. Just come back with me too. Southern fields, bearing strange fruit. Blood on the leaves and blood at the roots. Black bodies swinging in the southern breeze. Strange fruit is hanging from the poplar trees. These are pastoral seeds of the gallant South. Them big bulging eyes and the twisted mouth. The scent of and bitter cry.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you very much. Whoa, that opened up the skies. Thank you very much. They're right here right now. Definitely. Most definitely. I feel them. Billy's here.
So is Nina.
So is Nina and everyone. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here. I have a big bullseye on me. Fire away. Who's first? Brother. Please. Yes, quickly. No soliloquies.
Listen, back to what I was saying earlier about the spell. You know, last night I was watching TV about time with this guy from City College, Roki, some Japanese guy.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah, I
about.
know. Michio Kaku.
Yeah, Michio Kaku. And he was saying how the Earth is just 4.6 billion years old. You know, and it was going to burn for another 5 billion years. It was going to burn out. But in the program, they had this thing about the time machine. Well, he was saying that if you spend time enough or fast enough, it suspends itself. And they really got these machines where they're trying to go back in time. I mean, they're trying to play with that.
They already got it.
Yeah.
In fact, they're already playing with time right now. Matter of fact, the first time I heard about the machine was through Dr. Ivan van Sertima. In fact, the time machine that they found was already existing. In fact, they got a hold of it, and it was an artifact that they found based upon being in the proximity of this machine. They found the artifacts, and when they did a carbon dating on it, instead of the carbon dating meter going backwards, it started going forwards. Which means this thing that was there came from the future. So past and future are essentially within the present. It depends on what angle you take of the spinning particles. Remember, particles spinning at a specific angle are what gives you the density and the proximity or the perception that you're in. Shift the angle of spin on these particles and you're in another dimension. So remember, everything is based upon the angular trajectory as well as the angular spin of the particle, and the angular spin and trajectory of light at the time that you're occupying the space you're in gives you the solidity of the moment. But shift the angle of spin, shift the dynamics or the trajectory of the vectors of the light and cross them at other parts where the particles are changing their own velocity and spin, and you're talking to somebody else on another frequency, on another dimension. And if you look at sometimes, you see that there are, in the Kemetic, you see that there's this thing, and you'll probably see it, I'm sorry, beloved. You see different Kemetic ancestors walking along a specific path. And then all of a sudden, 90 degrees later, you see them walking up this place here, like that. Well, the 90-degree angle at this point is the shift in dimensional awareness. So you could live in proximity to other entities in the same space, but in another angular rotation for the particle. And they all know that right now. That's why teleportation is going to be very, very close in the future, as I was saying in the last lecture, the last part of the lecture. So Michio Kaku is part of the whole Vatican structure. You got to know him. Iwas, the same jackass who comes on talking about him being part of the people who built the pyramids and all that crap. Anybody who is given any kind of visibility in public media today are part of the Vatican structure of lockdown. So they have to maintain what it is that black people are not. Keep telling them who they're not in order to maintain your lockdown frequencies. So we know who we are. The thing is, it's not popular knowledge. They know who you are. The thing is, it's not popular knowledge. So people like myself, Bobby, Brother Delbert Blair, and other brothers like Rashid, like the Mu Brotherhood, they're keeping a specific frequency in place. Now, if they attack me, they begin to mess with the time continuum. Because what I am saying is in alignment with what is tomorrow. They fuck with me, they fuck with their tomorrow. So it depends on what frequency you're on. If you're on the frequency of the past and you want to pick up a gun, they can kill you. They're legitimate with it. But if they sacrifice anyone talking the truth that is necessary to guide humanity out of the present box system, the whole universe will turn on. So I fear nothing. I fear no one. I care least about the physical flesh because this is what I am not. Remember, the secret. This is not who I am. And the secret to finding out who you are is to finding out who you are not. Remember, everything is in negation. Study the negation principle, which is why you must study the feminine principle, because that is through her that you understand the negating principle. The negating principle, or what they call the negative principle, is the way back because it was the way to here. Okay? So that's why the Caucasian is using the feminine mitochondria, the black mitochondria. He has no way across the threshold. He has to find a way to upgrade his own mitochondria through the black woman's womb. White people are not making the shift naturally. They'll have to make it artificially. Which is why they are in a mad dash to enhance their computer and their technology, because they need to take their physical body through that particular vortex when we would automatically take our atoms. Big difference. Which is why they shut down your music, which is why they've locked the tones and the harmonics off of you. They no longer play, you no longer play instruments, which is a very, very strategic move against you, opening up certain chakras in your body. After Earth, Wind, and Fire did what they did, that was it. They said after Earth, Wind, and Fire, no more. Because we were coming up next after them. We know it. And I think that you all need to know this. You all need to get one song by Earth, Wind, and Fire. There's two songs actually. One that we use as the university's theme song. True Love is Written in the Stone. That's our theme song. The other song, which is my very best favorite, the one that Queen, hey listen, my jaws were tight, right Queen? My jaws were tight. I was pissed off. You know, riding around so much pale shit, it gets to your fucking, man, you want to hit something. So I left the car and came back, and when I came back into the car, Earth, Wind, and Fire was playing. And I started, I looked, I said, you trying to get me to smile, and I'm not going to smile. But when the song hit, as one, I said, oh shit. Fantasy is one of the baddest songs ever written. Ever written. Ever written. Why? Because you need to listen to the words that those brothers are singing. Come to see victory in a land called fantasy. Now you see, you think this is the real world. And he's telling you it's not. Love and light, a new degree to behold. It's your soul in ecstasy. You will find other kind that have been in search of you. Many lives have brought you to recognize it's your life now in review. As you stay for the play fantasy has in store for you. But when light will see you through, it's your day, shining day, all your dreams come true. They had to shut that shit down. And I had the very, very distinct pleasure of meeting Maurice White at a place where I made my cross across the threshold at a place called the Tree of Life in Manhattan that they hurried up and shut down. Okay? So, fantasy, these songs, they all came. And then also listening to the songs of your masters, your jazz masters, with Bird. Listening to the songs with the master players, Coltrane. You start listening to Sonny Rollins. You listen to masters of sound, not jazz. We did not play jazz. We played black classical music. Black, it ain't America. It didn't belong, shit didn't belong to America. America stole everything it had This is black classical. This is melanated classical music. This is atomic classical music. When these brothers were playing, they were playing sounds. They weren't playing music. They were giving you intonations of consciousness. So you go back to those masters. Yes, brother.
What you said that they had to lock down Luther. Now
Yes.
Eddie Murphy said that Luther's music
Yeah.
created his babies.
Yes, most definitely. I remember I told you that when Barry White came into prominence and when Isaac Hayes came into prominence, when Smokey Robinson came into prominence, the baby rate, the birth rate shot up over 300% in the black community. So that's why they had to shut your music down, because we start to fucking real good. We started getting into that music. Excuse me. Yes, brother. I'm sorry.
I have a two-part question.
Quickly.
Between 2012 and 2025, we're supposed to be going to a galactic alignment,
Yes.
and all the planets so far is moving further out of this universe.
Yes.
Next question. The powers that be, by next March, going to implement the national ID card.
Yes.
They're also going to make it mandatory to have the microchip
Yes.
in human beings.
Yes.
What are we supposed to do when it's mandatory?
Okay.
Because the next question is that you can't buy no food, get no job, get nothing unless you get microchip.
Time to start growing your own, number one.
That we know what I mean.
Yeah.
You're going to have to go on the ground or what else?
You're going to have to see what happens is no matter what way they stop, another way opens up.
True that.
We may not see it now,
True that.
but the ancestors will show us another way out. The other thing is, you all need to get next to Sister Myra L. You all need to start. Oh, there's a lot of brothers hating on this sister because the sister has found a key. And the key to this information is in her hands right now. She has one more door to go through. One more door. And Sister Myra L. will be the one that you need to speak to. And I'm hoping that I'm not putting her in any trouble by telling this to you. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'm going to tell you that that sister has got the key. She is now in the midst of getting ready to release her 13-week course. And that 13 weeks is 13 weeks chock full of the baddest information you would ever want to have. And she is about to add to that information after next week, or next 2 weeks, I believe. After the next 2 weeks, she will add to that information, and she will be back on the circuit to do a lecture. And I definitely recommend that you, brother, bring that sister forward so that she speaks to you about the way to navigate through the new coming times. She will have that key. The lecture? He will let you know. Brother Black Dot will let you know.
Originally, it was going to be on the 28th of this month, but she said she needed a little bit more time.
Yes.
So I will keep you updated.
Good. This brother here has a question. And then you.
I just want to say, I went to an African wake, and the Africans really celebrate a party when a loved one dies. And I went in, and I was like the only white Caucasian there. They was like, they're looking at, what the hell are you doing here, you know? So they started playing in music, but my ancestors came in, and I started dancing. And when I was dancing, my spirit just took over. By the end of the night, they also invited me to go to Africa. But they said, where do you get that soul? I said, I'm you. And that's my point. I'm y'all. Y'all part of me. And I love y'all. And thank you.
Hey,
Thank you for the
preacher loves you
information.
too, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Yes, my father's a master alchemist. He got his mastery with that very same pointer there. I was wondering if I could get it back.
What is that?
The pointer.
Oh, that. I took this from you, brother.
No, pass it
No,
on.
you passed it. Follow me, beloved.
I did have a question.
No, go ahead.
All right. This is still based on alchemists. A teacher at the Bubble of Manhattan Community College was asking me a lot of questions on alchemy and wanted to make a tape or DVD with me. I felt uncomfortable with these Europeans who were followers of Aleister Crowley. And I bought a book on it, but the book didn't tell me nothing about that. And when you mentioned it, I wrote the name down. I was wondering if you could elaborate on it.
Aleister Crowley? Well, Crowley said, from my seed will come the beast. And the last lecture I did showed you that. Because essentially his grandson is George Bush. So now, Aleister Crowley, he was called the beast. He said, from my seed will proceed the beast. And essentially, he is, you know, one who took the information. He studied all the black people. He had all the black artifacts all over his house. He got into sex magic, what he calls sex magic, by using Kundalini magic. The sex magic he learned from Pascal Beverly, who was essentially the one who refined Rosicrucianism. And he was a black man. That black man refining Rosicrucianism taught the sex magic. He really put together the good sex magic, the sex magic that you use to enhance your consciousness, to bring higher energy vortexes from the lower regions, which is in the red regions, to the purple regions or to the violet regions, where is your higher consciousness. So he used sex to raise higher consciousness. Aleister Crowley used sex for control, or to use it to do things, to cast spells, to potentize certain talismans and use them, or amulets, and use them for certain types of energies that he was. And then essentially, you know, he wrote some books, 777, he wrote the Book of the Law, and all of these books were nothing more than Kabbalistic books reviewed or at least slanted to his own interpretations, where he was using that information based upon, again, Pascal Beverly. Okay? But, you know, Crowley, you got to get, I would say, learn the Kabbalah and learn the ancient Kemetic sciences, and then go back and read Crowley. And then you get an idea, an interpretation of what Crowley is about, because everything he's doing is interpretation. Somebody had, there was this brother here, and then you, yes.
Next year, May or June, CERN's, this organization is putting together the recreation of the Big Bang, 3 miles on the ground. Yeah. If they had the power to recreate what took place some how many billion years ago, what hope do we have to believe that these people, the Caucasoid, time on this planet is basically, you know, it's over? How is it possible?
Yes, that's a good question. You see, again, it's just like anyone who is fast-tracked towards their own oblivion. Let him find out everything he wants. Let him explode atoms all over the place. He's doing it on the surface, on the outside. He's not doing it here where it counts. He can't do it here where it counts, because he does not have the intestinal or, in fact, the mitochondrial fortitude to do that. He may now invest that because he is using the feminine principle, the black feminine principle, as a guide to that. He does high rituals with black women. So you have to understand the black woman's womb is his black whole back. See? And he knows what time it is, and he knows who to go after when he wants to subdue the race. Kill off the men, imprison them, and go after the women. Because their mitochondria is the one that will follow. And he needs to strengthen his mitochondria. It's dying off. He's reached -0 birth population rate. So when you're at -0 population rate, what does that mean? It means that you got to go into all kind of artificial shit. So now they're using lambs, they're using pigs, they're using everything to bring babies forward. And I have the proof that that's what they're doing. So I'm not just talking about Yaku and hating white people. I don't hate white people. I don't have the time to hate white people. I don't give a shit. You know, if I'm talking about white people, it don't mean I hate. Hate needs for you to come from the abdominal region, burning up and causing your chakras to turn in the other direction. I'm not doing that shit. They ain't even worth that. And I'm not scared to talk about the fact that Caucasians essentially got problems. They know they got problems. Every time they look at me and my skin color, they know they got a problem when they go back in the mirror. Right? So I don't care. I have a lot of Caucasians in my family. Lord knows they were Germans and Irish. There's Castilians, Spanish, directly from King Philip. I got that from the Jesuits. Who am I? All the way back, King Philip. Really? Huh. So I got to give back. I got to do something. I got all kinds of things. But then I got Africans and Native Americans and all these. I'm like a mutt. So I can talk about white people. You know? And I can say fuck y'all. And I ain't racist. I don't have to be racist. I don't need to be racist. It's too much energy. Right now, my whole thing is upliftment. That's all. I'm all here for upliftment. I don't have to associate with you because if I don't like you, I don't have to associate with you. If you don't like me, I don't like, that's fine. That's your space, this is mine. But I'm not going to be worried about what you do. Oh my God, what the white man going to do next? He likes that shit. He wants attention. It's when you don't give him attention, he goes in your neighborhood and kills one of y'all. And then got y'all marching down there in Jenna. Don't you see what he does? He fucks with y'all. He gonna let this white boy off and then give yours 18 years. He wants your attention. That way he got you distracted thinking about dumb shit. If y'all bum rushed and got your kids out, that would have been another thing. But you're waiting around for justice. Come on, give me a fucking the fuck y'all gonna get justice? You're gonna march again? March? See, that's why I gotta get out. See the cube? You gotta get the fuck out from in the cube. Y'all actually marching again. What the fuck did that do? Well, you got a whole nother consciousness. Consciousness, they said, well, you know, a whole set of youth now are becoming more conscious socially. Get the fuck out of here. The conscious people are here. The conscious people are coming here. Conscious people know what time it is. They know that's old paradigm distractions. And then they're going to actually bring out of mothballs Al Sharpton. The fuck was that? And then even put on a movie with Al Sharpton in it. Yeah. What's the name of that damn movie just came out? Old one that Al Sharpton was doing something. What was he doing? What's that boy that went and got $1 million? Alan Sandler. Yes. And Alan Sandler. Huh? Mr. Dobbs or Dobbs or something like that. He got $1 billion. He's an old country hick. And he's supposed to be writing postcards. And Al Sharpton is up there talking some dumb shit. And he's in a movie. So that makes Al Sharpton run for president. Gives a fuck. Everything. Who gives a damn about, what's his name? Barack Obama. The nigga's for Israel. Even Jews ain't for Israel. The Hasidim would want to burn Israel down. The Hasidim is burning the the Zionist flag of Israel. Do you know that? The Hasidim down here in Brooklyn are marching against Israel? They're the ones who are going to the Palestinians and asking for peace. They're the ones at the time when they were setting up Israel. Those were the ones that the Zionists were beating up and putting into jail. So everybody know what time it is. You know who the Zionists are in Israel. Israel ain't got shit to do with Judaism or Kabbalism. It's a goddamn Zionist state politics. It's Nazis with a whole other name. I'm sorry, this brother first.
During your lecture, you was talking about the temples pointing to the stars and the stars pointing to where? Where do the stars actually point?
Well, the stars are not actually pointing anywhere. What they're doing is they're in a processional alignment. And as we travel around, see, it's like this. Let me see if I can get it to you. Here you are. Here's the sun. Here you are in this earth. The sun is also spiraling around another sun. And that whole cycle is spiraling around another sun. And so you imagine now that we are essentially electrons around a gigantic atom. And this electron, the Hunab-Ku, is broadcasting outward the consciousness matrix and what it is that is to be manifested within every dynamic of living, conscious, perceptual being. So all the information at different levels is being broadcast out through light fixtures that you call constellations. These light fixtures hold on to programs. And they are tuned to the light fixtures that are the matrices of your brain. So when I showed you the 22 star configurations that are in the sky, connected to Taurus and all the rest of these configurations, then you see next to that the 22 symbols of the Hebrew alphabet. You are watching exactly how your brain works, and here's the secret, and I didn't have a chance to talk to you about. There are 22 letters to this particular alphabet. Shift it and put the 11 side by side, and if you can put the codex together, you will find out what the 22 connections are to that that your DNA. So the letters themselves actually come together to form Jacob's ladder. The 11 being the master number. Do you understand what 11 is? 11 is those two pillars that you saw, the 3 pillars, the yin and the yang. You have 22. 22 for this cycle. You have 22 strands of DNA, not 6. You have 22, and the secret to all 22 are in the language of light. And again, when you're looking at the language of light, you are looking at a reference point, a schematic, a map of consciousness. Okay? Check. Brother, you had your yes. Anybody asking anything about health or nothing? That's interesting. I just want to get on. About health, just get started. Yes.
Yeah, it's basically like nowadays Hollywood convey more reality than the public media. So they got all the movies and the shows they be putting out. I just wanted to know, like, if you had anything to elaborate on as far as that.
Anything in the movies worth watching? Seeker?
The Nation of Steel, the book edition?
I'm not sure. I haven't been looking. What was the last movie we saw, Queen, that I said had something in it that might be worthy of looking? That's right. Born Identity, yeah. The Born Ultimatum. Yeah, it was opening up a whole lot of secrets. They're getting ready to put something else, Born Resurrection. They're writing another book. They're ready to come out with another one. But it wasn't Born. It was something else having to do either with, was it with the dragons? No, it wasn't the dragons.
Dragon Wars?
Not Dragon Wars. I think it was Dragon Wars. There's 1 or 2 things that I was looking at in Dragon Wars that the Koreans did. But all of it having to, anytime you see dragons, it's China. Know that China is on the rise. Anything you're doing now belongs to China. The dollar belongs to China. Everything is China now, and they're getting ready to move it back. In fact, I done told you China done bought a piece of California. They have part of their Navy and their military there. And it is about using, the Pope is running this whole charade of bringing down the United States. They've always wanted to destroy the United States because of what it represented. It represented freedom from the church. And the church itself is now on a crusade to get back its flock, which is to bring your asses back into slavery and serfdom. Okay? So, somebody had a hand over here, or was it you? Go ahead.
Could you speak on the North American Union, any update on that?
Yeah, the North American Union is moving ahead, but there are states that are definitely fighting it. Nebraska don't want it. I know Utah is definitely against it. There are a couple of states, about 3 more states that are definitely not in Wyoming. Yes, go ahead.
Now, I was going to ask you, do you think that with the introduction of the Euro dollar, if they're going to try to crash the firms?
Yeah, well, they're going to try to do that, yeah. Though they already crashed the firms. They already got you with OJ and all these other bullshit distractions. They crashed it when OJ came out. They actually started to crash when Vic got pushed to frontline news.
What crash?
The crash of the dollar. So they already are on that track to destroy the American dollar. American dollar is worth what, 22 cents now? And I would seek, the secret is to buy up all the dollars where they're bombing the people. When you buy their dollars and then convert it back, because they're about to get rid of Iraq. Now here's a secret I'm going to tell you all. Michael Jordan is opening up a mall in Iraq. That's why you've been seeing him. They want you to get him more. You want to get more happy with Michael Jordan's face instead of him. He's selling his underwear with Cuba Gooding Jr. So now you're seeing him. Here's one of the greatest athletes of all time pushing drawers. But you don't understand that what he has done is that if anybody has money to invest, go and buy the Iraqi dollar now, because after the Iraqis have now been put up into some kind of stability, they're going to raise the dollar up back. It's now, I think it was $4,000 to one of your dollars. It's now down up to about $1,678 or something to every $1. So if you were to get like $7,000 worth of Iraqi dollars, and you would hold on to that, put it in the safe, because if you buy it, the bank will buy it for you and ship it to you in Iraqi dollars. And you will see that actually it has the seal of England on it. Because remember, Iraq was created by England. All right? So now, that's what the whole war trip is about. The war trip is to destroy the dollar. That's why they want to go into Iran, to collapse the Iran dollar. Once they collapse the Iran dollar, they start buying up the dollar. Now they get that money back. So they have to, this cracker got to go to everybody's country, fuck up their lands, destroy it to build it back up. And then charge them over on their dollar. So if you want to buy Iraqi dollars now, you can buy Iraqi dollars, hold it in your safe, and then when it drops to like $40 or $50 per one, you can convert that money back in and make a killing dollar on the dollars that you put out. For the say the 700 or 7,000 that you got on Iraqi dollars, you could pull back in something like $150,000 on your investment.
Same thing that's happening in gold.
Oh yeah, gold too. They crashed the gold in the whole 9 yards. Yes, brother.
What about those gold, supposedly gold coins that just been releasing in the newspaper?
Yeah, what they're doing is trying to get you to understand that there is something that we've been talking about. How many people was there when back at the time when Sharpen and them were speaking up there in Harlem, and I spoke about something called Nasara. Anybody hip to Nasara?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I spoke about Nasara back in the 94. I was talking about Nasara, and that's back when we were dealing with the so-called conscious movement and the political movement. Now, Nasara is National Economics Stabilization and Recovery Act. Now, they say that a rumor is not a rumor that doesn't go away. Now, this has been a rumor since '94. Well, the National Economics Stabilization and Recovery Act is an act that's in place very quietly. This is why wars are going on underneath. This is why they're shipping A-bombs back and forth. What has happened is there is a recovery plan to get the United States back on the constitutional dollar and on the gold standard. And slowly but surely they're going to quietly do that. But they're not going to do it with your knowledge. The first thing has to happen is the system got to crash. Chaos got to kick in. And then they're going to come up with this recovery plan that is almost like miraculously existing. It isn't miraculously existing. The plan is real, it's in place, but they're not going to let you know about it. We're going back on the dollar, and you now seeing on the commercials, we're getting, buy this gold coin, get this gold coin. That's them slowly but surely acclimating you back into the gold standard. But they're not going to do it right now because they have to crash the system, get rid of these bastards, these Nazis who hold your government. Because remember, we have to get the military back on our side. And remember, back in the time, FDR, he put a stipulation into the agreement called the New Deal. He said that if this shit don't work, the military has the power to bring the country back under constitutional law. And that's what it is that we're dealing with right now. We're dealing with a war, an internal war in the United States government. And right now, you'll see it on the surface as people getting shot and found in the park, heart attacking, the whole 9 yards. Clinton had 3 doubles. One of them got assassinated. They tried to assassinate the vice president. So there's this inter-Illuminati war going on to stabilize the planet and to try to bring us back around. I was fortunate to be in contact through a third party with one of the 7 men running the planet. And it was interesting because the sister queen, remember her, we can't get in contact with her anymore, she just seemed to have disappeared. And she told me that she was in touch with the guy who was telling Bush he's a jackass, calls him on the phone and tells him what to do. This guy lived in the Middle East, in the East. And here's the word that I got. The Illuminati has put out a depopulation plan for the planet. And we all know that. And what came to light was this white boy who went to, he was working for the Canadian National Broadcasting System. And he came out with a story about something that the government did not like. And they kicked his ass off the screen and off of the news agency. This guy was like Walter Cronkite. Well, what did he do? Well, he says, well, I'm going to go around the world teaching this to lecture circuits. Well, one of his lecture circuits took him through Japan. And in Japan, he began speaking about a depopulation program that the Illuminati had for China, Africa, and for all over the non-white world. Well, at the end of the lecture, after he showed all the proof of this particular plan being in place, As he was packing up, he was approached by 3 gentlemen of Asian descent. And he asked them for a meeting. They asked him for a meeting. He had a meeting, a private meeting with them, and he said to them, he said, "We want you to take a message back to the Illuminati." And these Chinese people, these Oriental people said, "We are united more than you know." The Japanese, the Chinese, the Koreans, we know who you are. Take this message back. We have over 100,000 highly trained professional assassins. We know your addresses. We know who you are and where you are. Take it back also to the people of the United States government, that if they want our protection from this Illuminati beast, we will give it to them. Tell them that we have a secret organization called the Green Hand. And the Green House and the Green Hand, I think the Red House and the Green House. These 2 secret organizations have in excess of 6 million members. And they don't know who, we don't know who they are, but they know who every one of the Illuminati are and their addresses. They said to the Illuminati, if you move forward with this plan to depopulate China, Africa, or any of the Eastern world, we will kill each and every one of you. So you have seen that there are certain things that are being retracted. In other words, the New World Order isn't moving along as smoothly as these people who have these delusions of grandeur would like it to. Now that it's been exposed that Bush is the son of Nazis, and the fact that most of the high technology that they have came from Tesla, as we said in the last lecture, that all of this is now coming to the bear. We know who they are. Kissinger is on the run. He is a world-class criminal with a warrant for his arrest if he were to step out of where he is. They are now coming to the point where, remember we said that Bush is a president that was elected on Tecumseh's curse, which is he was elected on a 0 year. And every president elected on the 0 year came to his death while in office. The only way that they're going to bring this national emergency to bear is they tried it with the atomic bomb. It didn't work. They tried it with exploding this and exploding that and saying that this germ is out and this. So they're trying their best to get us under national emergency or under martial law, but it's not working. The only way they're going to do it is if they kill Bush. If they assassinate Bush, that would be the excuse that they need. But it would have only been something that they had already planned. Because they need to bring you into the concentration camps, or at least the mindset of concentration camps, before they move to the next stage. And that is elimination and repopulation of the North American wilderness. They already have places where they're going to put elephants, bears, lions, and it's all going to be here on this continent. The plans are here now to depopulate America and to rewild it with new animals from Africa that they're going to transport. And new Europeans now are going to move from this continent to Africa. That's why they're in the process of trying to depopulate it. Yes, you first, then you. Oh, that's right. This brother had his hands up. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
I've been reading about a lot of spiritual teachers, and they do things like healing. And one of the things that they say they have to do in order to be miracles is raise their vibratory level. How do we go about raising our vibratory level?
Good question. The vibratory level is impeded by the way you think first. And when you think a certain way, you begin to eat a certain way. Your thinking and your behavior connected to that, all that goes into conjunction with raising your vibration. Taking away certain foods from your dietary habits, foods that have a lot of debilitating energies, the ones that have high sugar. Okay, I would suggest that you give some time to go up online. Write this down. This is mandatory for everyone. And I suggest you get this for your, not only your healing process, but to put this away as part of what you would put away as food. go up to the website, J as in Jack, P as in Paul, and Nalani, N-A-L-A-N-I, Nalani.com, jpnalani.com. Now, listen carefully. White people understand what time it is. They know that technologies are not all being used for the bad. There are a few of them who know what time it is, and they understand the times to come. There is a substance and a product that we have that is coming out called Juice Plus. Remember I told you about it earlier?
What? Juice Plus?
Juice Plus. It is not a vitamin. It is not a drug. It is not something that's going to zoot you. It works on the deeper cellular network. It is a food where they dehydrate, take the water out, and the salt, and the sugar, and they give you nothing more than the enzymes and the products that your body uses and ciphers into the bloodstream that gives your body, the cells immediately recognize and associate themselves with. It does not give you anything suddenly. You have to be taking it over a period of time because it's rebuilding you. But then there will come a shift in the way that you feel, in the way that you think, and automatically you will know that you've been taking a food that you have not been taking in all the foods that you've been eating. This substance has 17 vegetables and fruits. 17. You can't sit down and eat 17 vegetables and fruits. Tomorrow when they stop the trucks from coming into the inner city, you ain't going to have shit but the grass in Central Park and Prospect Park. So if you do not understand that there are certain things that you need to have cached away and to be taking at the same time, because that's what helps me to be talking for 6, 8, and 10 hours. It's not a vitamin. I don't take vitamins. I don't take drugs. And I had to try this out on myself first to see if there would be a drug effect, and there's no drug effect. All I know is that I'm getting more endurance. I'm feeling a hell of a lot better when I wake up, and it's because I'm getting that particular tissue. Now, what's happening is when you go up online, you will read the research being done. For instance, I'll give you this and I'll come to your question. Australia doesn't allow anything into the country. You can't go there selling any vitamins. They don't allow it. Why? Because they have a stringent test before they allow any products into their country. Juice Plus is only one of 4 or 5 that they sell in that country. Juice Plus is the most researched product ever. Let me say that again. Most researched product ever. They're still doing tests on it. For instance, do you know that an apple contains over 10,000 ingredients that they could just now find? 10,000 ingredients. And they haven't even counted all of what an apple has. So understand that you can get it if you go up online and you can order it from that JP Nalani. If you want, you can sit and talk with my queen, Nalani, and she will give you all the information on the Juice Plus. But I guarantee you, if you don't have this, I mean, you could be taking herbs and vitamins, that's another thing. You know I ain't even no herbs. Because you could take herbs for a short period of time, get all the accelerated drug-like effect from it, but then after a while, you keep taking that same drug, that same herb, and what you were taking it for, it creates. So if you're talking about taking Cascara, Sagrada, and Senna because you want to move your bowels and you can't shit, well, you're going to move your bowels and shit for maybe what, about a week, maybe a month, and then after that, Senna will constipate you. Because it is not true food. It is a drug. All herbs are drugs. And I know that they think I'm hating, and all your ancestors use herbs only for triage purposes and only for hallucinogenic purposes. Your herbs are not food. Now you can smoke the ganja if you want, but then you could be burning up brain cells and destroying the synaptic linkages that sends messages back and forth in your brain. It will accelerate your consciousness to another level, but guess what? It ain't giving you nothing, it's taking what you already have to get you up to that consciousness. And then what happens? It drops you fucking down, bam! And what happens when you start smoking that ganja? You start forgetting shit. That's the penalty. And understand that it may not happen now because you're young, but as you grow older and older, you'll be looking for them fucking brain cells you burned up. Somebody had their hands up over here. Yes.
I'm just excited to some of the results. Well, I heard, and I'm curious about this, as there's a politician that are visiting Iraq and they move around with what's evidence.
Yeah, Blackwater. Yeah, but did you get my tape on Katrina? Has anybody seen my tape on Katrina? Okay. Spike Lee had a chance to see it, and he didn't take the time. And so you got a good Katrina from him, but you didn't get the truth from him. In Katrina, if you remember, I spoke about Blackwater. And Blackwater is a conglomeration of mercenaries from the Mossad, from the CIA, from Special Forces over here, Delta Force, SEALs. All of these bastards come together to form a private corporate army that is going around assassinating people who are the heads of rebellions for hire. So Blackwater, they're going to have all of that happening. Matter of fact, Blackwater may be right here, right now, listening in, because it's a corporate military, and they are for hire. They're guns for hire, and it was Blackwater that was the ones guarding certain thresholds of escape for black people, and began killing black people. In fact, members of Blackwater were guiding these crackers who are over there, who are going out on what they call squirrel hunts. And over 350 black men and women were shot to death by these roving bands of whites who went along killing black men and black women who were looking for help. You didn't hear about that, didn't you? No. Well, like I said, there were over 50,000 people who died. Not no damn 6,000. 50,000. They're still finding the bodies. So know that this is one of the biggest holocausts that happened right here on this continent, and they are still shoving this shit up under the rug. Okay? So yes, Blackwater, but I was on health for a minute. Somebody had on health. Sister first, and then you, brother.
Because of the pineal gland is so prevalent in the black man's body, geneticists told me that the white people is trying to rejuvenate their pineal gland because it is the only part is essentially dead. So is this true or not?
Yes, it is. In the book, The Wounded Womb, I explain about the pineal lockdown in Caucasians. Calcified pineals is not like a bone hard. In fact, it's only when your pineal is bone hard will you be able to see. The pineal has to have an erection. You don't have an erection down here. You have an erection up here. That's where you start making love up in the upper chambers. The pineal, when it's a strong pineal, it gets hard. That's the Peter that they talk about when Jesus turned and said, "You are Peter, and upon this rock, which is the rock, I shall build my church, which is the body, and the gates of hell, which is passion, shall not prevail against it." That's what it meant. Peter is actually all of the sun-based solaric minerals that go into creating the conduits, opening the conduits that lead to the upper chamber, which is the pineal gland. When the pineal gland is calcified, it becomes flaccid. It becomes covered by a oxide, a calciferous oxide, and it looks like it's covered by mucus. That's who Caucasians are. In fact, in the book, I talk about the chart of Caucasians, and I got the chart from Sousa, Brother Sousa Epps, and where he speaks of Dr. Brother who did the Black Dot from California. No, King, Richard King, where he speaks about the calcification of the white people's pineals. And also I speak about the fact that white people's psychosexual inhibitions are what really motivate him to be who he is with the rest of the world. And Freud, I know you heard of Sigmund Freud. Well, in 1985, a pamphlet of his was found where he broke down white people and showed you what a consciousness who was raised in an ice environment is really like. And that was hidden until 1985. And you know that he was writing back in the 19-teens. So why was it hidden until 1985? Because it began to tell you who the Caucasian was and what was what the Caucasoid's psychosexual behaviorism was attached to. The fact that he came into his humanity in an ice environment. And from that thesis of Freud, Dr. Michael Bradley wrote The Iceman Inheritance. Okay. Yes, brother. It's called The Iceman Inheritance, but Dr. Freud's book is called, or his pamphlet is called, A Phylogenic Fantasy. Phylogenic fantasy. Yes, sir.
I wanted to find out what is...
No, the brother behind you. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Recently, Phil, we heard that the planet Pluto does not exist anymore.
Yeah.
I guess the question I have is, was Pluto destroyed?
Pluto was not destroyed. Pluto was shifted to where we're getting ready to go. The funny thing about it is that Pluto rules the subatomic plane. So of course they're going to tell you it no longer deals, because it's vibrating out of the white man's ability to control the energy that's coming in. Pluto controls the subatomic level. Whatever influence you see of Pluto, know that it has to do with your atoms, and it's changing you at a very substantial level. It's affecting you at the atomic level. Whatever it is that Pluto is affecting means that anything that Pluto is affecting in your life is at the subatomic level. Yes.
Last question, I'm sorry. Is there a difference between melatonin and melanin, or is it one and the same?
Well, melatonin is nothing more than one of the abstracts of the melanin complex, what I call the melanin molecular complex. And melatonin is created inside or by or with the help of the pineal gland. So you have to understand that melatonin itself, in conjunction with what is the name of that? Serotonin. And all the material, oh thank you, somebody knows what's going on. And the materials that go into creating melatonin, which essentially is created only at night for you to be able to sleep properly. And this is why I also recommend that you sleep in complete blackness. There shouldn't be any light in your room while you're sleeping, because that's how melanin is recharged. It's not recharged with the white light, it's with the black light. And you are a dark matter creature, as the brother understands. So you are in tune to the vibratory wavelengths that are in the darkness. As soon as everything shuts down, the outer world shuts off and the inner world is activated. So you recharge your melanin and you allow your liver and your heart and everything to rest if you go to bed at what is called 11 o'clock through 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. From 11 to 5 is when you recharge your kidneys, your liver, your gallbladder. This is necessary so that you can actually help your heart. That's why black people don't have so much heart disease, because they don't go to bed on time. They're constantly up partying and shit, all the way past into the middle hours. You need to be asleep and in bed by at least 11 o'clock. But your tired ass need to be out in the bar and shaking your asses. So you suffer because you have these heart conditions. And because your heart chakra isn't actually in the right place, you're not vibrating there, you're having these heart diseases. Yes, brother?
About 2 weeks ago, or about 3 weeks ago, there was a meteor that landed in Peru.
Yeah.
They said that the people who was going to investigate it were getting sick because of it. What is that?
Remember, they are now finding dark matter all over the place. And little signals are coming our way. There were a few times when a couple of meteors had to be sidetracked. You are going to be seeing hundreds of UFOs now. They are now coming out. They will be making themselves known over the next 10 years. I didn't want to talk about this because everybody in the nationalist community tell me that I'm going after gray men and all this shit. It ain't got nothing to do with it. I've been looking at UFOs since I was living off the coast in Trinidad, a place called Mayan. I was there watching these sons of bitches come out the Atlantic Ocean. I know they exist. I thought they were flying fish. But they just kept on going. I know what I saw. I'm not crazy. I know because, hey, listen, I saw it myself. I've been through the death cycle. I died and came back. I drowned. I was dead. I was looking above my grandmother and my grandfather. I died. I knew what it was. It ain't what they're telling you. I didn't see no white man with a gray beard. I didn't see none of that shit. I got pulled back into my body, and I knew that something was different. Near-death experiences put you into a whole other space. You become fearless. You become different. You understand and understand that there's something different about this, that this is all an illusion, that you're just playing inside this vehicle. You see? So, understand that you can keep this vehicle healthy, and that's the secret to understanding how you are now resurrecting the body. The more health you put into your body, the more you are preparing the body for the next time. Because remember, the template of your activities and your behavior follow you with the spark that leaves the body. And the body that you inhabit will inhabit and inherit that very same behaviorism. So what you're doing right now, beloved, whatever you're doing right now to raise your consciousness does not go in vain. You don't live fast, die hard, live fast, die young, and make a good corpse. That's white people's thinking. Our people live to 300 and 400 years old. In fact, some of the people they brought over here in the diaspora were 200 and 300 years old, and they didn't even know it. So I'll say, take you and then you, brother. Go ahead, real quick. I only have like 10 minutes, so let's go.
Biogenetic warfare.
Biogenetic warfare is happening today. They are using genetics and the harmonics and the tones that genetics give off, and they are putting these tones into the satellites. And they're broadcasting them at certain beams and frequencies. And since they know how to disrupt and destroy DNA, they can mess with it subsonically. They can create moods, change moods, and to create disease conditions into your body. They can, the gay bomb. They can give you heart attacks. They can give you hemorrhages. There is a gun that can shoot a mile. It shoots nothing but light. A laser light that can hit you from behind the head, kill you at a mile away. And there was a movie out called The Shooter. And they were telling you that they can actually kill you from a mile away. But they can do it with light by causing cerebral subdural hematomas, by shooting a light beam into your brain. Yes, yes.
How you doing?
Yes,
is the Bermuda Triangle another entry to another dimension?
Yeah, it's a place where there are a dozen pyramids under the ocean. It sank right off the coast. And these pyramids essentially are still active. And remember, we said that the pyramids are nothing more than sonic speakers that intone certain frequencies that are supposed to keep the tectonic plates. In fact, it's because of the Bermuda Triangle that half of the East Coast ain't dropped off into the fucking ocean by now. The Bermuda Triangle is actually keeping the sonic frequencies of the eastern seaboard in place. But what's happened is the pyramids over in the west sunk to a place in the abyss of the Pacific Ocean. If you look at the Pacific Ocean, it's jagged all the way down to the depths. Now they are taking it, listen carefully, they have gone down 8 to 10 miles in the ocean, and they're finding life. Once they find out that they hit bottom, and below there are tunnels. There are tunnels 200 miles deep in your place that lead from one continent under the ocean to another. Honeycomb throughout this world right now are people with technologies that will blow your mind. They are here right now. They walk amongst you right now. They talk amongst you right now. And they will make themselves known. They have been keeping away from this crazy white man. They know when to leave because this fool will shoot them down. But they have been communicating through people, through certain people, teachers and so forth that has been coming forward to get you prepared for them. They're the ones scared shitless of the UFO, not us. Yeah. So understand that. Yes, Brother Bambata, real quick.
Certain things that you hear frequencies in your ear.
and it sounds like you hear a ringing sometimes,
Yes.
it goes away. Or you could be sitting on your bed just leaning or reading a book, and you never see this thing in front of you.
Yes.
It always runs
Right beside you.
on the side, runs on the floor, and you get the accomplishment. What is that stepping in your dimension?
Now you're hitting it. We are, remember I said that the cycle for our evolutionary transition is speeding up at 20 times the rate. You are going to be at a place where you will be stepping in and out of 2 different dimensions. The secret is that you do not have anything artificial on you. The reason why our people made the transition to this dimension is because we did not bring anything artificial into the dimension we shifted to. That's why the white man saw us in all these brick things, and there's nothing that is artificially made from artificial substances when he finds it. It is all made from stone. It is all made from things that are properties based upon the planet, because only natural things will make the transition through the dimensional door. If it's unnatural, it will stay there, or it will cause only part of you to go through. So everything you have on you has to be natural. If it isn't natural, it's not making the transition. Right? So when you see these flashes, like I see them all the time, and I say, I saw you. Know that you are playing inside of dimensional gateways and transitional gateways, segues into different dimensions, and every now and then you may pick up on a flash of some kind of substantiality that is showing itself as a shadow in your peripheral vision. And truly, beloved brother, that it is not your front vision that sees, it's the peripherals that see the other dimensions. So the secret to understanding and understanding how to view the other dimensions of what I teach my students is that to understand and practice looking and identifying your peripheral vision. If I can look straight ahead and identify the face here, then I am practicing to open up the vortex of your eyes, the sight. Remember, your ancestors didn't have white sclera. They saw more light because they had no sclera. The sclera shrunk after the great atomic cataclysm. Your eyes had to shrink in order not to deal with the lights. The high intensity radiation shrunk your eyes and gave you more white in your eyes than you were there. Remember, the eyes of the gods were called the doe-eyed gods. The doe-eyed, if you look at a doe, there ain't no sclera on a doe. It is pure black. That's why they can see so good and hear so good. Well, that's who your ancestors really were. Yes, brother?
And also we hear a lot about the Bermuda Triangle, but there's something that's even bigger than that on the Pacific called the Devil's Triangle.
The Devil's Triangle, yes.
Nobody speaks on that.
That's right. The Devil's Triangle been taking more planes than the Bermuda Triangle. In fact, the Japanese and them have been staying clear of there, and they just talked about the fact that the Devil's Triangle has been taking so many planes for so many years. But the reason for that is the Pacific Ocean is where Tiamat was ripped apart. The whole, remember the story of how Earth was created. Earth was created from the tail of Tiamat. And the part that was created was the part that was torn away from Tiamat is where the Pacific Ocean is. The Pacific Ocean, the bottom is all jagged and all fucked up. In the Atlantic, it's smooth. Well, that's where the tear happened, in the Pacific Ocean. And because of the Pacific Ocean being so jagged, the continents are now drifting together. The Pacific, the Atlantic shelf is growing. The Pacific Ocean bottom is shrinking. Which should tell you that the Asian mass and the North American, South American mass are coming together. And the Pacific Ocean ain't going to be nothing but a river in the next 100,000 years. Yes, somebody else had it. Yes, brother.
It's interesting to hear you talk about the process of the eye shrinking over time, the atomic cataclysm. Just doing my own research, just looking into the lives of people from the earlier aspects of the 20th century. You always look at photos of people during the 20s and the 10s, and there seems to be like a clearer vision through their eyes. Like you look at pictures of like Native Americans,
yes,
right? And from what I'm learning, they were under less filament light.
Yes.
So the eye experience was a little bit under less duress, if you will, from what we go through. But my question is, all this talk about the pineal gland specifically, and its ability to manipulate and deal with movement. Is there anything or any type of supplement that we can speak of now and maybe talk about enhancing?
If you want to do it quick,
what's that?
you want to do it quick or slow?
So
But you can do it by drinking the ayahuasca plant. Yeah. It's called the ayahuasca plant, and this has to be connected to another plant of the coffee family, and I forgot the name of it. But I'll do a lecture on it. I think I did a lecture on that. The combination of the ayahuasca, this is South American herb, along with another coffee plant. You crush them together, and it gives you a hallucinogen that opens up the first eye. A-U-Y-S-H-U, I don't remember it. Call me. Yes, brother. Then you, sister, then you. Go ahead. I'm giving people who didn't have a chance before.
The slides with the structures found in Mars, was that of our civilization being there prior and making a shift?
Yes.
To this?
Good question.
How did that shift come about?
Right. Well, people wonder why we left Mars. Well, we left Mars because remember I showed you the 22 characters of the Hebrew alphabet. Yeah. Well, where the solar system and our proximity to it while we were on Mars began shifting. So now the shift of those 22 sigils began to give more of its influence to this quadrant of the solar system. So based on the fact that that shifted, it left the people there starting to kill and shoot off one another and use the knowledge that they had accrued to that level to destroy themselves. So the Zulu, which is what's deep about this brother who went ahead and put together the Zulu nation, the Zulus say they are directly from Mars. Okay, so they came from Mars, and even Credo Mutwa, who is one of the Zulu priests, speak about the fact that the people of the Zulu nation know that their ancestry and where they come from is that red planet.
Does that also relate to when Elijah Muhammad said during lectures that there's black men ruling in other planets?
Oh yes, yes, and that there are people off the moons right now of Uranus. There are people inside the planets of Jupiter and different places where, and even on the sun. There are entities living on the sun right now, but you don't understand the fact that they can live on the sun because you think the sun is some kind of hot ball where nothing can live. The sun is a hole in the sky. It is a place where consciousness now is condensed. The sun is an amalgam, a bringing together and consolidation of gases that have tightened up into a hydrogenic ball. Upon that particular sphere of existence, there are conscious entities that are condensing into this sphere of existence as we speak. We were all at one time sun children, and the earth is the byproduct of a sun that once burned and gave life. This is where you get the sacrificing sun, because as the sun gives up its life, it becomes the sun that gave up its life to redeem man. So you're understanding the whole cycle of the Bible that you're talking about, the whole Christ cycle, is that this earth was once a sun. And when they talk about Adam and Eve coming from the rib of Adam, well, if you look at the sun's rays, it looks like ribs. And when the sun burns out and then begins to float into outer space and gets caught up as a molten ball around the peripheral sun of another sun and gets caught up, he becomes the prodigal son that comes back to the Father. And that now cools down, and the entities on the spiritual realm that were living on that sun now begin to condense into the human forms that you see us here before. So every time you watch a son being born, you're watching the gateway for a consciousness cycle to come into being. And meanwhile, while it is condensing into this realm, it is serving the realm that went before it. Just like the moon was once inhabited. Now they found on the moon a ship that could hold over 100, 200, 300 people. It's almost like an ark. And they found it with one of the cycles that they had going across it. And this ship, they said, had to be over 2 to 3 million years old. So know, beloved brothers and sisters, that the hype about you being 6,000 years, the hype about it being only 4 million years, is bullshit. There's too much information coming out to show that you were here forever and ever and ever, that man never had a beginning and man will never have an end. Yes, Sister Henry.
Okay. Two questions, but we'll make it quick. I want you to talk about the Akashic realm. You had mentioned in the last lecture that they've already tapped into it. What does that mean, especially for the community folks? And number two, can you, as we're moving through this shift, Pianal Gan is being activated, does that open the door for us to have contact on a conscious level with folks from Ladies, Sirius, and all those other things?
Oh yes, they're already contacting us, but they're not contacting